Ministry of Finance, Government of India. We extend a very warm welcome to Shri Subhash Garg, former Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. So, good morning and a very warm welcome to the third and final day of India International Fintech Festival. I'm Purnima Sharma, and on behalf of ASSOCHAM, I welcome you all to this very special event. So let's begin today's proceedings by presenting a sapling to our chief guest. I request Sri Ram Rakappan, Chairperson, ASSOCHAM National Fintech Council, to kindly present sapling to and now I request Sri Ram Rakappan, Chairperson, ASSOCHAM National Fintech Council, to kindly deliver welcome address.
Esteemed members of ASSOCHAM, distinguished guests, good morning to you all. Thank you. It's an honor to welcome Mr. Subhash Garg, former Secretary at the Ministry of Finance and the former Executive Director at the World Bank. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and being here today. Friends, today is the third and the final day of the India International Fintech Summit. It is a matter of pride for us that you have all supported us. And looking at the gathering today, it only encourages that we should continue to do this every year, and probably a mini sort of a festival every now and then. Again, it's a known fact that fintech has become a dominant force in the global financial services industry. Our fintech startups and solutions have penetrated the global markets owing to several factors, including exponential growth in computing power, enhanced internet penetration, and improved internet speed and coverage. More than that, it is the trust laid by the consumers and the citizens of this country on the solutions that fintech offers that we have seen, everyone has seen during the pandemic period, be it education, healthcare, and many other services going online, and thanks to the efforts of the fintechs which made it possible. Again, it is a matter of pride that as of 2022 April, 16 Indian fintech companies achieved unicorn status with a valuation of over $1 billion. These companies offer services across payments, lending, wealth tech, insurtech, and regtech. So our fintechs are going around the globe, and they've been invited everywhere, and that's possibly because of five key features, which is the constant focus on the customer experience, the transparency that's built around the technology, the security that's been built in, the kind of maintenance and supervision the fintech offers, and of course, it also leads or reduces financial exclusion or increases financial inclusion. I'm sure in coming years, we can expect to see more Indian fintechs move beyond a sole focus on customer experience and develop more innovative products incorporating artificial intelligence, cloud, and digital options. ASSOCHAM offers extensive support to fintech players. We at the Fintech Council of ASSOCHAM are available to each of you to support in matters related to public policy, regulatory clarity, advocacy, representations, etc. We can partner with you on roadshows, on market entry in key states. So would request each of you to be in touch with us. As chairman of the ASSOCHAM Fintech Council, it is my privilege to help and support the next level of growth of the Indian fintech ecosystem. Together, let's make a meaningful contribution. Next off, we will be giving away fintech awards to selected fintech companies. At this stage, we would like to recognize the efforts of PwC Fintech team for processing the award nominations and being there as a knowledge partner of the event. Thank you, everyone, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Ram, for your address. And now we'll begin the much-awaited award ceremony. Second FinTech Excellence Awards. Award for Excellence in Business Growth, Early Stage FinTech Startups goes to Spice Money. And may I request our chief guest to kindly present the award. May I request Mr. Asim Parashar to also come on stage and present. The award goes to Spice Money. The next award for excellence in business growth. Award for excellence in business growth, early stage fintech startup goes to Spice Money. Any representative from Spice Money is here to collect the award? So next award for excellence in business growth, early stage fintech startup goes to Quint Financial Technologies. Many congratulations to Quint Financial Technologies. And this award is for excellence in business growth, early stage fintech startups. Many congratulations. And the next award for excellence in business growth, established fintech startups, goes to Airtel Payments Bank. Airtel Payment Banks, many congratulations. And the award is for excellence in business growth, established fintech startups, Airtel Payment Banks receiving the award. Next award is for excellence in business growth, established fintech startups, goes to Flexi Loans, EPI Money Private Limited. Congratulations, Flexi Loans, for this award. Award for excellence in business growth, incumbents, goes to Zozo's Day. As we have been told that their flight is quite late, so they'll be collecting this award later. And the next award for excellence in business growth goes to Mobi Quick. Many congratulations, Mobi Quick, for this award. So the representative from Spice Money has arrived. We will now present award to Spice Money for excellence in business growth, early stage fintech startups. Many congratulations, Spice Money, for this award. Many congratulations, Spice Money, for this award for excellence in business growth, early stage fintech startups. Next award For excellence in innovation technology, early stage fintech startups goes to Zolve. Many congratulations all for this award. ASSOCHAM Awards 2022 Fintech and Digital Payments. Award for excellence in innovation technology, early stage fintech startups goes to Zolve. Many congratulations, Zolve. And the next award is for excellence in innovation technology, early stage fintech startups goes to Velocity India LLP. Many congratulations, Velocity India LLP, for this award. कहते हैं मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती हैं जिनके सपनों में जान होती है। सिर्फ पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों से उड़ान होती है। बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं वेलोसिटी इंडिया इस अवार्ड के लिए। The next award for excellence in innovation technology goes to Paytm Money. Many congratulations, Paytm Money, for this award. ASSOCHAM Awards 2022 Fintech and Digital Payments. And the winner is Paytm Money. Award for excellence in innovation technology incumbents goes to Perfuse Software and Solutions. Many congratulations, Perfuse Softwares. And the next award for excellence in innovation technology goes to CC Avenue, Infibeam Avenues Limited. Many congratulations, CC Avenue, for this award. ASSOCHAM Awards 2022 Fintech Digital Payments. Many congratulations, CC Avenue, Infibeam Avenues Limited, for this award. And the next award for excellence in ecosystem enhancement, early stage fintech startup, goes to Association for Emerging Technologies. Many congratulations, Association for Emerging Technologies, for this award. This award is for excellence in ecosystem enhancement, ASSOCHAM Awards 2022 Fintech and Digital Payments. And the next award for excellence in ecosystem enhancement goes to Decentro Tech. Many congratulations, Decentro Tech, for this award. ASSOCHAM Awards 2022 Fintech and Digital Payments. And the winner is Decentro Tech. And the next award in the same category goes to Sciency. Many congratulations for this award for excellence in ecosystem enhancement, established fintech startups. और अगला अवार्ड एक्सीलेंस इन इकोसिस्टम एनहांसमेंट एस्टैब्लिश्ड फिनटेक स्टार्टअप गोज टू ऑनलाइन पीएसबी लोन्स. मेनी कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस, ऑनलाइन पीएसबी लोन्स. जोरदार तालियों के साथ उत्साहवर्धन करें। बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। Many congratulations online PSB loans for this award. और इस कैटेगरी में अगला अवार्ड फॉर एक्सेलेंस इन इकोसिस्टम एनहांसमेंट incumbents goes to JustPay. Many congratulations, JustPay, for this award. ASSOCHAM Awards 2022 Fintech and Digital Payments, and the winner is JustPay. And the next award in the category of Special Jury Award goes to Flexi Loans. Special Jury Award goes to flexiloans.com. Many congratulations, flexiloans.com, EPI Money Private Limited, for this award. And the next award in the category of Special Jury Award goes to JustPay. Many congratulations to the winner, JustPay, for this award in the category of Special Jury Award. Next award in Special Jury category goes to Decentro Tech. Many congratulations to the winner. Would request you, all the winners, to please come forward for photo op. All the winners, please come for the award, with their award for photo opportunity. All the winners, please come forward for photo op with the award. Please carry your award along. सभी विनर्स को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं. Many congratulations. Fintech sector is scaling new heights. As we all know that India is amongst the fastest growing fintech market in the world. जोरदार तालियों के साथ सभी अवॉर्डीज को शुभकामनाएं. So, India International Fintech Festival and this award ceremony, ASSOCHAM Awards 2022 Fintech and Digital Payments. Winners are will request you to address the gathering. So may I request Shri Subhash Garg, former Secretary, Ministry of Finance, to kindly address the gathering, sir. Please welcome him with a big round of applause as he addresses this hall and gathering.
Very good morning, and congratulations to all the winners who did excellently well in this new emerging field of financial technologies of fintech. I understand there are many, many more who competed fiercely for these awards. Some of them did not get it, but keep on doing it. This field is just opening up, and there are a lot more opportunities to get it. All the best to the winners as well as those who made a lot of efforts but could not get the awards this time. So this is fintech world, and no one knows better than the audience here. So I would not spend much time on the financial technology or something, but I'll just try to give you a sense of where we are and what possibly are the challenges which lies ahead and the opportunities which are opening up. First, to my mind, the finance, we call it BFSI or something. The finance world is what we are talking about, and finance is basically 5 key things. Finance is payments, finance is credit, finance is investments, finance is insurance, and finance is the deposits. So these are the 5 key, whether you call it BFSI or anything else, but finance world is this world. Technology we are talking about now, digital technology. And so the finance being enabled by the technology or digital technology is what we are talking about, the fintech and the financial world. The finance is, to my mind, the intersection or the interface between the real economy and the monetary economy. So you have money on the one side, which is basically 2 things. One is your cash, and the other one is your deposits in the bank accounts. These 2 together make the broad money. The real sector is where you're producing goods and services. You are delivering that, distributing that, consuming that, and also probably converting them into assets for whether the financial assets or the real assets, house, and etc. So one side is the real world, and the other side is the monetary world. And the finance is which brings together these 2 worlds and make everything happens. That is the role of the finance industry. The monetary world today, by and large, has become a lot more digital today. So all your deposits, we have, let us say, even in India, something like 180 lakh crores of the broad money, as we call it, M3, of which about 30 lakh crores is only cash currency. The rest, about 150 lakh crores, is deposit. And deposits have become digital by all kind of core banking and other kind of things. So deposits have completely become digital. Currency is still to become digital. There is a lot of talk about central bank digital currency and other things, but currency still is physical, right? So the finance industry or the fintech industry is able to do lot of use of the deposits for doing the real economy transactions, but the cash transactions still are physical. So if you look at the 5 things which I said, the payment space by and large has been made digital, enormously digital. By value, as they say now, about 95% of payments in India in terms of value are digital payments, only 5%. But in terms of volume, still about 80% of the payments are cash-based, not digital. So that is, once the currency or the cash also become digital, then the fintech industry will be able to do with the cash as well. But that is still not there, so you are living in that. The other spaces of the finance system, the credit, the investment, savings, and others are increasingly becoming digital. They are still a lot of space to go in. So my sense is there is a lot of work which is being done in now credit side. A lot of fintech companies have come which are delivering the credit for the SMEs and other things. It's happening, but still, unlike payment, this space is still enormously there. On the insurance side also, you see a lot of companies now coming up on and delivering the services using fintech. But investment also something is happening. But there is a huge lag which is still coming up. What exactly fintech does, to my mind, the fintech does sort of eliminate the physical intermediaries, so to say. So you earlier, let us say, had insurance brokers or the stock brokers or the credit providers, etc., or the payment makers, so to say, by checks or otherwise. That space is being disrupted and being taken over because fintech, the technology, the digital technology is much more efficient. So, but the final intermediaries are still very well entrenched. So in the, let us say, in the credit space, the bank is the final intermediary. Others are the secondary. Likewise, in payments also, every transaction you do ultimately lands up in the bank. You are not able to disrupt that. You've not, but times are going to come when even that can get disrupted. So a lot of ground has already been covered, but some ground, I think, a lot of ground still is to be done. So that, to my mind, is the opportunity which is there. The two big changes which are coming up in the world now, I think, offers the next big opportunities in the finance or fintech space. One is this onset of the decentralized database technologies, cryptocurrencies, or whatever you say, because that system operates where the intermediaries finally disappear. That is the biggest change. So if you want to, let us say, deliver credit, that space delivers directly from the savers to the borrowers. And the intermediary, the bank, goes away, or the non-bank finance company goes away in a way. So that will be a very different system. If you can visualize, it's possible that 20, 25 years from now, you may not see the banks being so dominant player, NBFCs to be so dominant player in the finance space. The decentralized database technologies might actually disrupt. I don't think they're going to go away. There would be a lot of trust still left with the system. They will coexist, but a greater number of share, to my mind, is likely to be taken away by the finance or the decentralized finance technology. The second big one, since the economy itself is also becoming digitalized, increasingly digitalized, so commerce has more or less become, or to a great extent has become sort of digital commerce now. You spoke about the health systems, health tax, insurance tax, and many other systems in the real economy also becoming digital. In the digital system, to my mind, the digital currency would be the most appropriate system for making the financial transactions, whether it's payments or whether it's lending or any other thing. So as the economy becomes more and more digital, the digital currency, to my mind, will have more and more space. So if you visualize a world where the people are keeping all their cash or currency or money in their own digital wallets, not in bank saving accounts or somewhere else, then the fintech can enable the real digital economy and the digital wallets with the people, with themselves, and make everything happen directly. And that, to my mind, again would be an onslaught on the intermediary system. So there is huge big opportunity. I don't think we visualize this that much today, but the scope is simply fabulous. So I see lots and lots of opportunities and challenge in the fintech world. India has been, or Indian brain has been very good on finance, and Indian brains has also been very good on technology services. So I think this combination of both, with enormously gifted finance mind and the enormously gifted technology mind, should provide us the big sort of opportunity to do it. Finance, by the way, is one which is most susceptible to misuse, theft, or you can't take away somebody's 1 crore house and by theft or something, but 1 crore rupees in your bank account can probably be hacked much more easily and all. But it has always been like this. The finance or the cash has been most susceptible, whether it was in the gold or silver coin stage, or in the fiat money stage, or in the digital money stage. But that's fine. But that makes the governments and regulator sort of becoming too much intrusive in the finance space. That's why there are most regulations and control in the financial field than the real economy. So I think as the new technologies, financial technologies evolve, and the governments and regulators not being in step with that, you will feel challenged. But I think the way to do work is to engage with them, is to explain them and to assure them they have a real concern. They have to protect the final consumer who is holder of that cash or the currency or the money, and he may not be technically or technologically as savvy or as efficient, though he would like to use that because that's easier. You can make payments much more easily. You can make investments. That would probably lead to many more. I talked about the intermediary changes. So banks may be replaced by the aggregators in the digital space, where they can aggregate the digital wallets with the borrowers and probably enable the credit function without going through the banks. It might be possible. It's also possible to visualize that the dematerialized companies or demat service providing company depositories can also become stock exchanges. What is there which the stock exchange does except adding the layers into the entire transaction? If the depository digitally enabled can make the transactions, the settlement risks actually come down substantially. So I think there are huge, enormous, unknown, unexplored opportunities, and that's the challenge and the opportunity for you. I think we are in a good position to cash it on, to make that happen. All the best to you. Keep on doing, innovating. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Subhash Gargji, for your address. And now may I request Sri Ram Rakapan to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Okay. What Mr. Garg is suggesting is, in case if there are any couple of questions, he's open to answering. Thank you, sir, for those wonderful remarks. Couple of points that I took from your discussion is about the focus around decentralized finance. You touched upon CBDC, crypto, essentially digital assets, which is primed to become sort of more than $1 trillion economy in the next 5 years, the so-called Web 3.0 framework, which is kind of a new animal at this stage, we want to learn about what this Web 3.0 and the next stage of digital 3.0 or 4.0. So no one other than the wonderful fintech founders in this audience who can help us understand what that next level of Web 3.0 means. So would be keen to understand that from you. But sir, you have also clearly laid out how, as a country, we have established the infrastructure and provided access, and now the fintechs are providing value through various use cases, payments, insurance, wealth tech, etc. So it has been an honor again, sir, to listen to you, and thank you for giving away the awards to those wonderful fintechs. So friends, it's time for me to give a word of thanks. I specifically recognize and thank again Mr. Subhash Garg for accepting our invitation and giving those awards. We also thank all the fintech founders and participants from the fintech community who have attended this program and the program for the past 3 days. Special thanks to all the ASSOCHAM members who are present here, and also our sponsors, without whom this event would have not be possible. Also, special thanks to PwC for processing the nominations, and again, the most important thanks to Varun Agarwal and Vicky Pandita, whom I know I've worked, their hard work is what you are seeing. So thank you, everyone.
Mr. Mohammad Yaqub Kittu, DG Budget, Finance Department, J&K Government, to kindly address the gathering. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As the anchor told, I am not here to address. I just want to leave a message from the Jammu and Kashmir government side. And I will give just a background. From last 3 years, from 2019 onwards, as you are aware, after that abrogation of 370, government of J&K is focusing on digital payments, both on receipts and payment sides, both. So that's why but you are aware that fintech world, there is less penetration of fintech world in Jammu and Kashmir. But to make you aware, we have now reached a saturation level in respect of banking penetration and in respect of digitization. So my request and earnest request would be that to the fintech community sitting here to explore the unexplored, because we feel that we are unexplored, so we request to you, your footprints are required in Jammu and Kashmir also. So not only that, government of Jammu and Kashmir has also opened the investment side also, and you will be glad to hear from last 2 years we have received almost 50,000 crore investment proposals, and it's going on now. So from ASSOCHAM side, I will also request the industry partners also, they can also come and invest there. So my earnest request would be to the fintech community, fintech world, to please come to Jammu and Kashmir and also help us in this, reaching this goal of digitization or this fintech side also. With these words, I thank ASSOCHAM for giving me this opportunity to come before you. And I also request ASSOCHAM that if such type of this function or conference would be held in Jammu and Kashmir, we have one of the world's best conference hall that lying on the banks of Dal Lake, the famous Dal Lake. So I request all of you, if that can happen, that will be my request. Thank you all the respected audience, and thank you ASSOCHAM. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammad Yaqub Kittu for your message, as you said. So we can now proceed for networking tea. It will be 15-20 minutes tea break, so please be back in time. Dr. Nagendra Nagaraj, founder and CEO, QPAI Technologies, Shri Ronak Maheshwari, ED Extreme Internet Exchange, Shri Manoj Dhanda, founder and CTO, Microhost. Very warm welcome to our panelists for the session on implementing most creative digital solutions for fintech space, emerging technologies shaping the fintech quantum, artificial intelligence, cloud, 5G, IoT, and AR, VR. Over to the session moderator, Shri Asim Parashar, Partner Financial Services, PwC. Thank you.
Can we start or still we are waiting for the audience?
Please take your seats in the hall. I request you all to kindly take your seats in the hall. Those who are standing, please take your seats. Please take your seats in the hall. We are beginning the next session. So it's going to be 45 to 50 minute session. So we'd request the panelists to be brief and to the point.
It will again depend from the audience. We will try to make it as interactive as possible.
All right, please settle down, take your seats. We are beginning the next session, wherein we have quite eminent panelists, Shri Ved Narayanam Vedantam, Marketing Leader, Microsoft, Shri Rajat Jain, Director, Client Solutions, Dell Technologies, Dr. Nagendra Nagaraja, Founder and CEO, QPAI, Shri Ronak Maheshwari, ED Extreme Internet Exchange, and Shri Manoj Dhanda, Founder and CTO, Microsoft. Shri, over to Shri Asim Parashar, Partner,
Thank you.
Financial Services, PwC.
Thank you and very good morning. After award ceremony, coming back to the mundane work of panel discussion, it's quite challenging. And when the names were being announced and the bell were ringing, so I was thinking it's quite interesting. First time I was hearing that, but let's start with that. A very warm welcome to my esteemed panelists and the audience out here. And it's really a pleasure and honor for this panel to be part of this August Company of Fintech community. The topic is quite complex from the perspective because these are the buzzwords which you will hear in all the newspaper, all the channels, and you will hear in all the events which are organized. Blockchain, DeFi, 3.0, quantum computing, edge computing, IoT, etc. So all of these things have been evolving. And some have a little bit of maturity, some are moving ahead, some may take another decade to arrive at. So it's a very different kind of environment that we are seeing. Lot of unknowns, lot of complexities, and this is also, we are looking at the future. But with me, I have the panelists who have worked in the industry in deep technology. They have set up their own organizations. They have seen the struggles. They have seen the evolution of these technologies, and they are, most important, hands-on like you guys. So it would be very interesting to hear their views, their opinions, that how they are looking at the future and how their experience can be shared with you, and you can look at the fintech industry. Now, when we look at fintech industry, their main objective is to build solutions for the financial services industry. And as Mr. Subhash Garg was explaining, the 5 components of it. and they have a certain set of money or limited set of money which comes to them. And with these technology evolving, now should they try to open a branch in metaverse like JP Morgan Chase has been doing it, or should they try to do something to reach the last mile? So those are the choices that they will have to do. Now, should they invest in quantum computing or should they invest in something different? Now, those insights, etc., will lead to evolution of different kind of partnership. Now, the recent news about Apple, that they are going to underwrite credit on their balance sheet rather than on Goldman Sachs' balance sheet. Now, that is a very recent development. So the landscape is also changing. And as Mr. Garg said, will there be a bank or will it be a reduced bank in the next decade? We don't know. So is this an opportunity for us? Yes. But what is the technology we want to invest? What is the technology that we want to kind of look at or explore or collaborate is the question that we will try to answer in this particular session. So without much ado, let me just start with Mr. Veda, yourself Veda. He has worked in different organizations from Razorpay to Microsoft, and also he has been mentoring different startups. So his experience will be interesting. Now, Veda, if I have to ask about you, the customer experience part of it, we all talk about in banking and financial services, and I have my opinion on it, whether somebody will just take a financial product based on customer experience. So how is AI customer experience tied up? Is it just a little bit of talk which happens in the industry, or is it something more than that? What's your view? What's your opinion based on your experience?
Yeah, interesting question, Aseem. And when was the last time you actually did some online shopping? And if there is one thing that everybody here hates about online shopping is to actually face a payment decline. And there are like so many different technologies that work in the back end to make sure that this instance of payment declines are minimized to the extent possible. So I used to be with Razorpay before, which is quite easily India's largest payment aggregator platform. And there we use quite a lot of big data technologies and AI to make sure that there is dynamic switching in routing so that the end consumer experience is not impacted. So it routes to the, the payment gateway, which has the maximum chance of success to make sure that payment declines, and as a consequence, user experience during online shopping is enhanced. So this is a clear instance of how some of these technologies actually impact the digital consumer experience. So if somebody is actually shopping on the internet.
Right, and in the SME lending side of it, a lot of data is being used currently, very unstructured. How do you see technology, new generation technology? Can the AI play a very critical role? And there are questions also on ethical AIs.
Yeah.
And I can give you an example where in a call center, the bots were being trained and the trainers were using, like we use in a language, some words which are there, and they were trying to talk like that with the customer, and they have to stop that whole program. So those are practical experience, and ethical AI, the biases that we have against different caste, creed, religion, sex, and all those kind of things are there. And those are the realities, and the AI technology is moving ahead. Huge amount of data is available. So what's your experience, what you have seen?
Yeah, that's another interesting one. So SMBs are the nerve center and the heartbeat of India's GDP. They generate like huge amounts of employment. A significant contribution to India's overall GDP actually comes from India's SMB community. And at Razorpay, we've seen firsthand the growth that the SMB community has actually seen over the last couple of years. A lot of it accelerated due to the pandemic itself, because so many businesses which were previously brick and mortar actually moved over and embraced the digital way of life, so to speak. And back again in that same payment aggregator example in Razorpay, we had like multiple business units. The inward money movement cycle, which is the entire payments business unit. We have the Razorpay X business banking umbrella, and we also have a line of credit business unit as well. A lot of metadata and big data is leveraged from the SMB's behavior on the payment side. So let's say, for example, Aseem, you are a customer of Razorpay using one of the payments products, a payment gateway, a payment link, etc. I have access to the kind of inward money movement flows that you have. Let's say I am, Veda is another customer who probably doesn't have that much of incoming volume, and I have a lot of chargebacks against my name, potentially. Right? So I know if I am Razorpay, let's say Naga is Razorpay, he knows that Aseem is more credit worthy potentially than Veda. So Naga is able to make leveraging big data, and in this case metadata, of both Veda and Aseem. Naga is able to make a very informed judgment on the credit worthiness of ASSOCHAM. And working capital, as most of us know, is the lifeline of any SMB. They face severe cash crunches, working capital crunches. So by doing this, because the payment aggregator has access to non-public information, they're able to, which is not something that a bank would have access to, for example. This is because this is proprietary data. They're able to make a very informed choice. And since it's not a very risky decision, I actually know that ASSOCHAM is very credit worthy, even though his public credit profile might not say so. So I can actually offer him lines of credit interest rates which are actually better than what he might face at the open market. That's again a clear example of how these technologies are actually benefiting the SMB community in India.
Thanks for the confidence. Let me move to Dr. Nagendra. And one of the area which is emerging is quantum computing. Now, research have been going on for quite some time in that space. There's still a lot to be done, and there are blocks which are kind of investing money in that. And there are certain challenges also which will emerge with this technology. So rather than me talking about it, let me request the expert to throw his idea and his experience and what he sees in the next decade on quantum technology, and which, as a fintech, how we can leverage it.
Thanks, Asi. So basically, if you look at the pointers in quantum computer, I say IBM. So the CEO says that the biggest market for quantum computer is finance. Okay, and there will be no other technology that will disrupt finance like quantum. The reason is very simple. So entire financial things are based on a security. All the things are authentication or your encryptions and all. So the moment we reach around 2000 logical qubits, qubit is the basic element of quantum compute. The moment we reach 2000 logical qubits, most of security is almost gone. I mean, to say that RSA 2000 bits encryption, which takes around 365 years to break now, it will be broken in 2 seconds. Okay, so that is one area, and all your transaction has to be secure, and it has to be quantum secure. And the second is, then we are going to build a lot of these financial instruments. So those things will be based on quantum computing. Like for example, if you want to build a portfolio, you want to create an ETF. Currently, you can create a maximum number of scripts in an ETF, maybe hundreds or maybe maximum 10,000 scripts. When quantum computing comes, you can select among 1 million scripts to form a portfolio. That's very key. That means you're going to construct something which is very, very stable. That's possible with quantum computer. So today it's not possible because you cannot actually create a portfolio of 1 million script. And then coming to your risk profiling, and there will be arbitrage, okay, and high frequency trading. And then you want to do something like anti-money laundering detection. Okay, so if your network is millions of nodes, that's not possible currently. Currently, your classical computer will not be able to detect this AML. But when we go to quantum computing, you can really, really detect even the minus of AML possible. And all your frauds will be minimal with quantum computers. You can't really hide from it because now the networks are big. This cannot be detected. It's not possible to detect. But when a quantum computer comes, all this will come down. So overall, what happens to finance, we are going to move a quantum finance world from the classical one. That's a paradigm shift in the finance. Okay? And what is happening in India is we have a lot of fintech corporations, a lot of fintech startups coming up, and this technology will be critical for them. Quantum computing will be very, very critical because it's going to disrupt any assumptions we made in pre-quantum era. And of course, we have to build quantum infrastructure in terms of quantum communication. All your transaction has to be secure. You need to have a quantum network for that. We are working with DOT to have India's first quantum network so that your banking transactions are secure. And we are also building one of the most powerful quantum computer in India. This end of this year, it will be available in Bangalore for all of you to experiment. So this is what is coming. And the one thing about the quantum computers is it doesn't follow the power law or exponential law. It's a doubly exponential. It will suddenly come. Okay, so if you look at 2 years back, we were talking about 5 qubits. Now we have almost like 256 qubits that IBM has, and they're talking about 4,000 qubits. So when all these things come, the change will happen rapidly. It's not going to be a gradual change. It will be a disruptive, rapid change that quantum computing brings, and that's for good. That's for good for finance and our security. And this finance, we can also forecast the crashes, exchange crashes very accurately. Okay, so that's the power of quantum, what it can do to finance.
That is quite interesting. And for the community, fintech community, how can they participate in this?
Yes, we are forming a robust, see, there are already big companies like IBM and Google, they have the quantum technology, but we want more open. I think very soon we'll be announcing the Open Quantum Alliance between Europe and India. So there is a European company and Indian companies, and we are forming this ecosystem kind of thing. And we are also driving ecosystem in India with, participation of DST and DOT and even like pan-European ecosystem where everything will be open. You can just do a plug and play and the technology is available. So we see the need that if I want to reach to a grassroots level of fintech companies, they need to have accessibility, which is not there today. So we are providing that open alliances across Europe and India where smaller and smallest fintech companies can access this. That's coming.
I think ASSOCHAM also can kind of...
absolutely, yes.
some
ASSOCHAM is
initiative
playing a big role there, yes.
Because it's a quite cost intensive. These all research are quite cost
Absolutely,
intensive.
absolutely, yes.
And the fintechs will not be able to put money in there, but they would definitely like to be party to that,
Yes.
bring ideas and take it forward. So that's
Yes.
an interesting point. So Dr. Nagen, we are looking forward to that part of it
Fabulous.
for the community, and then let's hope, because I think a horizon of 5 years is something we should definitely bring in changes, or
2 years, not 5
2
years.
years. Okay, so we are optimistic out here.
Yes.
Good. Now you talked about transaction, quantum transaction and communication. So let me just move to Ronak. And Ronak is expert on the telecom network, 5G, etc. So Ronak, what's your opinion? How do you see the future? Because one, I can do the compute on a particular device. How do I transmit it? Secured, successfully, fast? Because that will then only it will be completed, because we have to reach to the last miles. So what's your thought on it based on your experience in this space?
So, I first of all, thanks for having me on this panel. I am the most farthest person from finance sector. I don't understand anything of finance. I am from the network side of things, as Mr. Asim rightly pointed out. To answer your question, I believe more of interconnection between networks is required to provide more security and faster transactions. And this was, I am running the largest internet exchange in the country, and all cloud providers and content providers and internet service providers are connected to us, and they are benefiting from this lower latency. It has increased customer experience. I mean, now you see videos which are non-buffering, even on your wireline broadband. 5 years ago, the wireline broadband speeds that you subscribe to were 512 kbps on an average. Now you have 100 Mbps broadband plans on an average. So this is the revolution that we have got, this internet exchange has brought in the market. And now what we see with fintech is, fintech is usually on the curve with respect to implementation of technology. However, having said that, fintech assumes that network side of things is not to be looked into. They just ignore the network infra and optimization and give their traffic or data directly to the public internet infrastructure, assuming that they will handle it well. Well, it works well, thankfully, but there can be optimization, and we as a country, we need to think whether we can optimize this aspect also. And interconnection is the way for optimizing this ahead. I mean, interconnection basically gives you security. You connect directly with your cloud provider. So all the content that you want to send to your cloud provider, it doesn't go over public internet infrastructure. It goes directly from your network to cloud network and from their network to your network. So this is more secure. This is faster. The latency reduces, and because of increased security and decreased latency, the end user experience also increases. So you have recently one of the largest payment application providers in the country has partnered with us, and they have said that they have reduced their latency to about 1/4 of it was earlier. So this is my answer to you, that yeah, there is 5G coming, but we don't know how exactly. I mean, at least the ATM transactions will happen faster, but apart from that, I am not really sure how 5G is going to help. But interconnection between the networks, because everybody now is operating their own networks. For example, banks, they have their own networks. Digital payment application providers have their own networks. Cloud providers have their own networks. They need to interconnect.
Thanks, Ronak. There are certain, on the network side of it, we have seen that tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, they are still okay. But what is the next kind of innovation that is required to enable in the other rural areas, etc.? That is the questions which is coming up. And most of the time when we discuss with the BFSI leaders, their challenge is that. For example, doing a video KYC, you require a network capacity and speed which can be sufficient enough to complete the process. It has an impact on customer experience also. So is there something which you are seeing in the industry, in your technology-led part of it, where some innovations are coming up, or people are still waiting for 5G to happen between the telcos and the private networks, and once they decide what is going to be, and then they will move ahead?
Now this is, I need to be a bit diplomatic in answering this question right now, because, so 5G is coming, but nobody knows what is going to drive demand of 5G. There is no killer application that is requiring 5G at the moment. We don't know what application is actually requiring 5G services. But yeah, there is certain architectural changes with respect to how authentication happens on 3G and 4G networks and how it is going to happen on 5G networks. And 5G is also going to enable, mass machine transactions and ultra low latency. Now, these are the things that all the verticals and especially fintech needs to exploit on how they can use this. I come from the network side of things, so I will not be able to, suggest any improvements in the fintech applications. But these are the new things that 5G is bringing. How we use it is a separate thing. But again, I would like to say that your point of video KYCs and other things is valid, and 5G will help it. It will really help it. But then this is access side of things. I mean, user accessing network services maybe in the rural areas or wherever in the tier 2, tier 3 towns. But still, the problem that needs to be solved is connectivity between cloud provider and the application owner and the bank. This is where the delay usually lies.
Okay. So let me just extend that part of it to Manoj, right? So cloud service provider. So Manoj, now we have touched about quantum, which is the compute part of it. We have touched on the network, which we are seeing 5G and other things which are happening to reduce the latency and more secure transactions, traffic on the network. Now let's go to the cloud infrastructure, because that is also going to be detrimental. The volumes are increasing exponentially. We have seen that in the UPI and other places also, and it will continuously increase. There are investments coming in, private cloud, public clouds, and so. So what's your view on the future of cloud infrastructure, and how do you see that fintechs can leverage on that?
Yeah, so I would like to start from the pandemic, right? Like pandemic came to our life, and very next day we were all in the shock. What we'll do, how our business operations will work, how our employees will start working, because data in the offices, or we're not able to access that. I realized that time we launched few products like a virtual desktop, where people can access their employees' data via VPN from their offices, and they can start, they can resume the work from their left, right? This is where I bring to the cloud is very important. Few years back, we were thinking cloud is optional. But I think this prove cloud is no more optional. It's very critical all of our businesses and day-to-day life. If we see everything happening on the cloud, if we see your mobile apps, everything you browse digitally, that's stored on the cloud in the data centers, right? Every day, the fintech doing the disruption in the market, launching new products, that is also going on the cloud. So I must say cloud is most important, not only to businesses, but to do more innovations to this universe. And I must say India also start adopting rapidly on the cloud. We see a lot of SMBs start using cloud. For example, in the pandemic, we see Tele on cloud, right? All the accountants were using the Tele on their in-house desktops. And then I remember we launched the Tele on cloud to help SMBs that time, so that they can view their financial data, and they can complete the transactions on the time. For fintech, what fintech is doing to help with the India stack, using their APIs and build their own infrastructure on the React or any other development languages. What microhost is do for fintech, we are offering infrastructure at the simplicity level. So many of the fintech who not from the tech background, they hire the developers, they get the code done, but then they required very certified server administrator for specific cloud service provider. So that is the problem where microhost come to the picture. We start offering the simplified cloud where non-server administrator person or even a developer can deploy any apps on our cloud. And it is like, if you think about an idea, for example, the fintech, if you want to launch your own product to do the KYC, right? It will not take you for weeks or month. If you have the product ready, you can immediately go live. So cloud increase the speed when you go to market. Yeah.
Thanks. Let me come to Rajat, to you. And this is slightly a controversial question. So these technologies which we have been discussing, 5G, Web 3.0, quantum, edge, IoT, etc., AR, VR, are we just trying to superimpose on the financial services sector? Their utility is more in other sectors, like IoT has been there in chemical industries and fertilizers and oil refineries, etc., for years. On I would say a localized WAN kind of thing they have been working. So why we are trying to push these technology to the financial services sector? Is it hype?
Okay, yeah, so thank you. I think the reason you've come to me last is because we touch almost everything when it comes to technology. And we talk about the disruption that happened in BFSI. What brought it in? It was the fintech, right? And what's fintech without technology? Let's draw a comparison. That's related to the hype. Now, technology usually starts with a hype. I think fintech started with a hype, right? And then it becomes a trend, and followed by necessity. And that's how it always moves. Technology is going to be essential when it comes to fintech. It will always start with hype. It will then move to trends and then necessity. Whether it will impact fintech, everything, indirectly, definitely. Directly, in parts. Let's start with something which we were talking about. Veda touched upon AI. We used to leverage the traditional credit scoring pattern previously and arrive at credit worthiness. It's not the case anymore. We use AI to arrive at the credit worthiness of any customer. Okay. We look at blockchain. What blockchain has done is it's brought merchant and buyer to a level playing field. That's what it's done. Blockchain started with a big hype. It's a necessity now. Talk about cloud. We were talking about cloud, right? Cloud in its present form gives you access anywhere, anytime. Cloud is also, I would say, improving. We may or may not call it cloud as we move forward, right? We've already started calling it multi-cloud or hybrid cloud. It's changing. The form will change, but is it necessary? Definitely. Let's look at IoT, Internet of Things. Any technology company that touches customers thrives on IoT. You thrive on the information that you gather from Internet of Things. So that's going to be important. Let's look at, edge computing. Edge computing started with edge client computing, providing the very basic computing at the edges, or I would say remote locations, or locations which are not, I would say, may or may not be directly accessible to a data center. We are migrating to edge data centers, smaller data centers, because the complexity and the quantity of transactions is increasing. That's going to increase. With that increases the importance of data security, be it on rest or on the move. That's where the network security comes in, the data security at rest comes in. What also changes with that is your cyber resilience. It's all the more important that we are more cyber resilient today. 5G, we talked about why 5G is going to change the way we look at things. 5G is going to change the speed at which we work. Right? It's definitely going to change the way we look at things then. Okay? These are the technology we're talking about. Let's talk about something very, very simple which touches users. As a user, I need a mobile phone to take up a transaction, sign up and do a transaction, right? But when it comes to organizations like you, it doesn't end there, right? The devices, the way you look at devices has also changed. We started with having analysts. We said, okay, we need advanced devices for analysts. It started there. Then we said, oh, no, we have data scientists also. And we said, we need something very, very specialized for data scientists. So if we really look at it, technology will always play that part in, I would not say disruption right now. I would say if we want to sustain also, technological advancement is going to be very, very important. Disruptions are, in today's date, are definitely brought in by technology, most of them. But let's look at sustenance. Sustenance will need adopting the most important technologies that are coming up.
Now that is interesting, and you said data scientist, and now going forward, you may only require AI to manage all the aspects of it rather than humans. Let me move to Dr. Nagin, to you. And we have seen what has happened in the crypto world. The regulator coming in, and things have been very different. We are talking about these technologies. We are asking fintechs to be coming up with creative solutions for the customer with better customer experience, innovating, etc. How should a regulator get engaged in it, or how should this community get engaged with the regulator? One side you have technology which is growing on its own, and these are different players. The other side are fintechs which are trying to grow in collaborations with the BFSI sector. So that's the second stakeholder or player. And the third side is the regulators and the ministries and the governments who are trying to get a wider view on it, that what these technology can have an impact and how it will impact on the financial sector. Because financial sector, it is contagion. One gets impacted, everybody kind of gets sucked up in that. So this is the biggest challenge which I have seen. I have worked in the UK, US, etc. And the regulators at times are either very reactive in nature, or they are very strict in nature rather than understanding the complexity and leaving some gray areas. And in the regulators also, RBI is different, IRDAI is different, and SEBI is different. We don't have a single point of coordination between the three. So wealth tech, invest tech, fintech, and etc., insurtech. So it's all a combination of things which are a lot of moving parts, aligning them. No central entity is there. MIT is trying to do something on that aspect of it. So with you at the forefront of leading the technology, understanding the dimension, how do you see it, how to handle this aspect of it? Because this is one of the complexities that most of the fintechs will face as they become big, as they become more public, they will come up with their IPOs and etc. It will have an impact on them.
Yeah, thanks. This is a very good question, Asim, because that will be, this will get only more and more deeper and more complex with innovation in technology. So one, we have seen what is in the blockchain and crypto and other world. But when the regulation is defined as very simple, they want to bring about the stability, and they want to bring about a level playing field. That's a job of regulators, right? And what I have seen is when we push a new technology, especially in terms of communication and the security, regulators are very much forthcoming. Okay, so they are the one who is asking us, like, can you give us a better security, or the better communication networks, or can you give us transparency, or can you make sure that there's no fraud? Okay, so in that way, some of the technologies what we are, especially quantum in that way, okay, that provides a safety net for the regulators if they're moving faster. And the flip side of that is the quantum itself, right? It's very powerful, and there is AI also, okay? So if that regulators are not moving faster with this, right? If they're not adapting this quickly, there's no way that we can protect, the institutions, bigger institutions or even smaller institutions, because what we are seeing is this is not like a crypto, like it's an optional kind of thing, but this is going to affect everything, including the communication, your transactions, your banking access, because it's affecting the security. So the regulators will have to move faster. And of course, I'm interacting with a lot of regulatory bodies in the banks, and also Department of Telecommunication, which is the biggest regulator in communication. They have been very proactive, and they want, especially in India, they want a world-class communication infrastructure so that they can move fast. So until now, we had technologies which are optional. We can live without that. If we can live without crypto, still the transaction happens, but crypto is more efficient. But when it comes to something like a disruption in a basic infrastructure, like what quantum can do, there is no other way apart from actually adapting it quickly. So that has to go faster. And any fintech player actually, actually implementing quantum and they're implementing well, it's very good for them because sooner or later everybody has to comply. There's no, the crypto, there's no option here. It has to happen. Okay, so that's what I see what's coming from the regulators now.
Thanks, Nagendra, on that. The challenge for the fintechs will be that they have a limited resource. They have to create solutions for the fintech space part of it. And I will just move to Veda on that. So how do they allocate their resources and measure the return on investment? That should they focus on quantum? Should they focus on blockchain? Should they focus on one of these technologies? How should they go about it based on your experience in Razorpay, Microsoft, both sides of that, one in technology company, other in the fintech world? What's your view on that?
I think what a lot of the fintech companies need to do is to keep their ears close to the ground to make sure that they have a clear pulse on what the end consumer is actually looking for. Let me give you an example. At Razorpay, again, during the pandemic, what we noticed was a lot of SMBs and startups coming in from tier 2, tier 3 and below, which was very interesting. We hadn't seen that before. A lot of businesses which were previously brick and mortar, they were actually looking to embrace the digital wave and jump onto the digital bandwagon, something that we hadn't seen before. So we launched a slew of products that could essentially resonate with this consumer demographic. Based on this consumer research, it actually came back. Another example is we noticed like this gentleman was mentioning, Manoj, right? Sorry. Was also mentioning that a lot of SMBs who are actually embracing digital today, they don't understand technology. They're not like the entrepreneurs of 2014, 2013 who were IIT graduates only, who understood technology well and who could do the technology, who could actually build the technology product themselves. The new age SMB and startup entrepreneur understands the importance of digital, understands the importance of technology, but they don't understand the nuts and bolts of the technology stack itself, nor do they want to. They just want to focus on their dhanda, on running their business, doing what they know best. So they essentially require a slew of platforms which can essentially abstract away this technology complexity away from them, even if they are building a digital product, which is why there has been a huge growth of these no-code products, as it's called. Like, for example, Shopify is a great example of a no-code platform. At Razorpay, again, we've launched so many different no-code payments platforms, like a payment link, a payment page, a payment button, which there is no hassle of integration, per se. You can start using them in under 5 minutes, literally. It's just plug and play. Very simple user interface where you can click, drag and drop, etc. So all of these kinds of technology innovations, fintech platforms can actually drive by having a very strong sense of the customer's pulse. You need to have a very strong, consumer research angle so that you're able to listen in to all of this feedback coming in from your consumer demographic segment.
Thanks, Veda. Rajat, moving to you, what is the kind of collaboration model that you are seeing will emerge to leverage these technologies?
So I think collaboration models have been emerging. So I think we started with very, very basic collaboration models, which were the video conferencing platforms, right? We started with content sharing, video conferencing. These are going to graduate to, I would say, probably in the near future, not in the near future, in the longer one is, I didn't talk about VR, AR, right? So VR gives you almost something like a virtual presence, right? So that's something that's going to, that's VR, that's what VR brings in, right? AR brings you the availability of an imaginary thing that you can work on, right? So these collaboration tools, what they will do is they will help people work from anywhere on the same concept as if they were in the same room, right? So that's what it started with, the VC and content sharing. It's going to graduate to working on projects, physical projects, without getting into one room. That's where collaboration is going to be. And the other thing which is very, very important today is what pandemic has taught us in the last 2 years is that you don't have to be necessarily physically present to make a difference. That's what collaboration tools are bringing in. What is going to happen is that your technical experts or your SMEs are going to be a little more choosy about their locations. So you will have to be a little flexible as organizations to hire people across, which can be across the country or across the globe. And then when you bring them into your office, it's not going to be physical. It's going to be through these collaboration tools and softwares.
Again, I'm just thinking, because in automobile sector, we have seen the VR being used very aggressively for the engine design, and people are present in different countries and they are participating in the design discussions, etc. But what is the utility in the financial services sector based on your experience?
Yeah, so I would say directly AR and VR will not have an immediate impact on the fintech industry. VR and AR is about they're immersive technologies.
Yeah.
So an immersive technology is used more for developing a physical product. Today they are being used for developing a physical product. If you talk about developing a mobile or showcasing a mobile. Okay, mobile, what I mean to say is a car or a truck. That's where automobile industry or automation industry is heavily invested into VR or AR. Anything that will start relating to physical product is an immediate use case. I would not be able to comment on what's going to be the impact in the longer term, but today it's about how we are it's more towards the immersive technologies.
Okay. So still, I think, so I will come back to you at the end, which technology we should put the money on. Manoj, if I come to you, there is huge amount of focus on the DeFi, distributed financial ledger, blockchain, etc. From a cloud service infrastructure provider, how do you see and what are the changes that needs to be done to make it enable it for smaller players to leverage it?
I met few people in the fintech world. Like I take an example of one of the friend who building KYC platform, right? eKYC. What I found is what he did the mistake. He put the money in front. He buy the servers and put in one of the Indian data centers and start building their platforms. So what I see struggle from his, he not earning anything, right? And now the stage is he is looking for the investors, and if he not get any investors, the project will be shut down, because how he will pay the data centers bills? He don't have any money in the reserve. He already put all the money in the capex. So what I suggest for the fintech to go on the cloud, use the expertise of the cloud providers to handle the infrastructures, to handle the networks, securities, because I don't think there is any provider who don't offer inbuilt cloud firewall, inbuilt VPN tunnels, which you can connect with any of the financial institution. So this is what I recommend. Like gentleman said, the people coming from the colleges and they love they love coding, right? They start building their own platforms. They don't have any server expertise. So this is where we see in the fintech zone also, there are many people who love the coding, who know how to build the stacks. So I recommend so not to go how you will manage the server infrastructure, how you need to manage the VPN or other network security services, how the backup you need to manage. Let you keep that responsibility to a cloud service provider, and you focus on your world to build a world-class infrastructure on any cloud provider. This is what I recommend.
Thanks, Manoj. Now, let me come to the last question, and I will start with you, Ronak. If you have to take a call, which one technology is going to have the maximum impact? Which one is it, and why?
Can I elaborate more on this answer? I mean, from the network side of things.
Sure, please.
Yeah, because as a community, I feel fintech really ignores the network infra. And I would like to have, so tokenization is coming. On 1st of July, tokenization has to be implemented, right? But fintech and also the regulators never thought of, discussing this with the networks. There is going to be material change in the way things are going to, and the transactions are going to increase. This is then going to increase their latencies. because of validation of token and then revalidation of the card. This is going to increase latencies. Now, our networks, can networks somehow optimize this thing? What can fintech do to ensure that latencies are not increased? Can interconnection, for example, internet exchanges are now prevalent in India. Can internet exchanges help? Can participation of banks and cloud providers and application providers on the internet exchanges, provide an opportunity to reduce latency? Nobody in fintech, even in the regulators, thinks about these things. They just ignore network infra. So one of the things that can bring massive change or massive impact is not ignoring network infra, thinking that network infra is also your problem and you need to solve it. This mentality should be there. I mean, this is what I wanted to say. I don't know whether people here in the room agree with me, but I think fintech, by and large, ignores network infra.
Okay, so you are saying that it's a strong position that, or I could take it as a suggestion that Department of Telecommunication and RBI and Ministry of Finance should work together.
Yes, I would really like to have that. I mean, the regulators need to talk to each other. They need to talk to the industry experts.
Okay.
This conversation needs to happen. I mean, tokenization is going to happen, but nobody in the network side of things understands what tokenization is. They're not even aware. So if I was not in this conference, even I would not be aware.
Okay. So thanks. Veda, to you, which technology, your money?
Yeah, Asim, we've spoken about a bunch of different technologies today.
One.
To me, the one which has a huge opportunity to disrupt the way fintech operates today is this entire concept of, amongst all of the winds of change that are actually sweeping across the fintech landscape, though, if I had to pick one, it would be this entire technology-powered trend of neo-banking, which is actually creeping up. For example, Razorpay has this platform called Razorpay X, which is a neo-banking platform. Very simply put, a lot of people in India don't understand what a neobank is. Essentially, it is like a bank without any physical presence. It's a bank with just a digital facade, which also significantly fast tracks and automates a lot of different activities which you have to do as an entrepreneur, as a business person. For example, in terms of automating a lot of payouts which you need to make, regardless of vendor payouts, employee payroll, whatever it might be. And it's already brought about some significant disruptions across various industry categories. For example, in lending, lenders are today able to make automated payouts within a matter of seconds to eligible people who actually need that line of credit. The other industry where neobanking has made a significant, tangible, and immediate difference is gaming. For example, a lot of gamers who actually play on these gaming platforms, they get instant reward disbursals, which is again powered in the back end through this neobanking platform. So a lot of this end consumer benefits and these industry benefits are powered by this very interesting new technological innovations that are sweeping across the fintech landscape. If I had to pick one, it would be neobanking.
Okay, so we have neobanking out here. Manoj?
I would say cloud, but I'll not say cloud because that is, of course, the backbone of all the technology. We call it blockchain, AI, IoT, right? So I would recommend for the big data and to analyze the customer journey, what your customer is doing, where is the opportunity you can grab or you can help the customer to take the action to build something for the customer that can be utilized. So I would recommend for the big data to analyze the data and monetize that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Nagen, apart from quantum,
See, anything that can help fintech to digitize, okay, and make it more secure will be very disruptive because more and more digitization will happen in fintech, okay. And the reason why digitization is very important in fintech is it's more scalable, okay. And when it becomes more scalable, it has to become more secure. So these are the things that will actually impact fintech a lot.
Thanks. Rajat?
Okay, so difficult one for me because we touch everything, right? But then, we talked about that when it comes to the transactions, we're still scratching the surface. Right? We might have a lot of penetration when it comes to digital payments, but when we go deeper, we realize that there is a lot more to do. So if I have to put it in I'll put it in a combination, not one, because edge with 5G is going to make things, and that's going to be real disruption because the number of transactions, the complexity goes up as we move forward. So edge along with 5G is going to make all the difference. The speed of transactions that we can achieve with that.
Thanks, Rajat. Edge and 5G, so you're putting your money there. So we'll thank you here, and we'll open the floor for questions from the audience. Okay, there are hands. Somebody can provide mic out there.
Thank you, panelists. It was nice hearing you on technology and finance. I would like to, if you'd like to power fintech a bit more, I just coined a word called fintech plus. It seems technology, we have spoken, and Aseem, you have spoken to Rajat on certain technologies which are mentioned here, like IoT and AR, VR, which are, I would find more relevant to certain other industries, like IoT would be more logistics and shipping, or even, and the same for AR, VR, more on the automobile. Relevance of those technologies on fintech may not be that high. But at the same time, I also heard Ronak mentioning network, which was probably miss out on this. So I would say if you put technologies are IT and network is telecom. So if you put that together, the IT and telecom, so I mean, the network component also, just now you said about edge with 5G, which is nothing but networks. So if we add on to networks into this technology, the relevant technology, which for sure are AI, cloud, quantum, you know, ML, along with networks, I think that would make it fintech plus. I mean, that's just a coin which crept into my mind, which I thought which we need to put more focus on. And along with the networks, this technology will pay a long way into this sort of distribution chain on the fintech side, and which will really help the whole industry and the ecosystem there.
Sure, thanks. Any other questions? No, I think that this was quite technology which is slightly different from the fintech world, but still from the panel side, I would like to thank the panelists for sharing their experience. There are some exciting things happening in the technology space, in the core technology, which is going to have an impact on the BFSI side of it. And as a community, we need to be prepared and take advantage of them. From the industry body also, there has to be more collaboration on this side of it. We are seeing that government is also taking initiatives. RBI is also pushing for that aspect of it. So it looks like a win-win situation, and there is a horizon of 2 to 5 years where we will see a lot of changes happening. And when we look at the Indian financial services context, the volumetrics, the number of customers which a bank has, and the number of transactions that we are generating, after China, it is the second highest. And the kind of innovations that are happening is phenomenal. So it's a very bright future that we are looking at it. And it's a great journey that you guys are kind of supporting for the financial sector in this country. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for patiently hearing us out. Thank you.
Thank you for this session. Aseem Parashar, Vinay Nayanan Vedantam, Rajat Jain, Nagendra Nagaraja, Ronak Maheshwari, and Manoj Tanda. Thank you all for this discussion. And our next address is industry address by Shri Arpit Sharma, VP, BFSI, Devnagari. Sai Devnagari.
Thank you. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Arpit Sharma from Devnagari, an AI-powered language translation platform which is made in India, built by Indians and for Indians. Let me start with a small video which will help you know about the core of Devnagari. Can we have the video, please? In past 2 days, we all have heard how various fintechs are gearing towards financial inclusions in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities and becoming an enabler to achieve that. We are seeing how payments or banking ecosystem has been brought to customers' fingertips. Just few clicks of button and I can get loan. Just another click and I can repay the same. Or I can even send money to any one of you sitting over here. This is how far we have come. I am sure you all must remember time when we used to go to banks and stand in long queues just to transfer a few thousand rupees to another account. So kudos to all the Indian fintechs who have done the unthinkable and have into a reality. But is this enough? Have we really made every Indian who had internet able to use such services? Let me take you into a new direction or address, rather, a least mentioned challenge, that is building the language connect. Have you ever thought about it, the power of language? I'll explain you by giving a simple example. What did the Prime Minister of one country say to the Prime Minister of other country when they meet? That's something only their translator knows. The words rightly said can make two countries the strongest of allies, or if it can make the PMs to be seated on 20 feet table away from each other. Such is the power of language. Now, if we look into the language challenges we face back here in India, then only 10% of Indians are conversant in English. This means 124 of 138 crore Indians are yet to be well connected with your products. A majority of these 124 crore target audience belong to Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities where today internet adoption is high, but language connect is still a problem. Now, when we further go into it and talk about the content availability over the internet, then only 0.1% of content is available in Indian languages. As we all know, India being a land of diverse culture and languages, hence it is very important to connect and serve our customers in their own language, in the language which they speak, in the language which they know. I am sure we all must have witnessed this famous scene from movie Three Idiots or a meme as well, wherein, "Arey कहना क्या चाहते हो?" That's an everyday challenge even in our today's ecosystem, wherein most of the Indians who come to internet and they don't really find the content available in their language, they think the same way. "Arey कहना क्या चाहते हो?" This led to the necessity of having an AI-powered human translation solution with Devanagari. We have been enabling the BFSI industry to solve this very problem, making communication with the customers in their languages easy, simple, and contextual. Our community-based approach to provide AI plus human outputs has earned us awards from NESCOM, AWS, AGM, Graham Bell, etc. With Indian BFSI industry focusing towards digital and STP journeys, Devanagari's AI-powered translation engine offers the perfect solution to build a deeper customer connect, which is very important for any business to grow. Our translation as a service model allows banks, NBFCs, insurance companies, and fintechs to localize their communication across all online and offline channels in various Indian languages. Let me share a few facts with you, how exactly the communication or the language helps. More informed customers are more loyal to your counterpart by 45%. Better communication helps the financial institute bring a higher customer experience and enhanced engagement levels. Business who connect better with the customers tend to make 21% more profit than those who do not. This being said, what Devanagari is doing, what we have done, we have developed our own neural machine translation engine, NMT engine. Along with it, we do have Kutum. Kutum is one of the world's largest Indian translation community, and we do have domain expertise, which helps us to deliver 100% contextually correct content in many Indian languages. Our solution architecture is such that it comprises of cloud and on-premise deployment options, and it adheres to all the regulatory need of data privacy and data integrity. Now, when we talk of further into BFSI is now focusing towards building a digital and STP journeys, right? So we are helping them in that. That's number one. Apart from that, there are other use cases as well in which we are in discussion and we have been working into this BFSI. I will just list down few. Content translation, be it the documents or your mobile application or your website localization. Your chat bots or the WhatsApp bots are there. STP merchant onboarding journey. Fast-tag customer retention. Or let's talk about the SMS, which we send to our clients or customers day in and day out. Agriculture, rural KYC documents, insurance or policy. User claim journey could be there. Payment checkout pages as well. List is endless and it goes on. At last, I would like to conclude by sharing our vision, that is to bring smiles to people. We want to see every person on earth should be able to harness the power of internet irrespective of the language which they speak. Language shouldn't be a barrier anymore, and we shall be able to use internet in our own language. This is the vision and aim of Devanagari. Thanks everyone. Thanks ASSOCHAM for the opportunity, and thanks audience for hearing me out. Namaste.
So you can connect with each other now, and after 10 minutes, we can go ahead for lunch and try to be back in an hour's time. So meanwhile, it will take 10 minutes for lunch to be ready, and meanwhile, you can connect with each other. Thank you. So we'll be starting our session as soon you all reassemble and take your seats back in the hall. Vice President, Technology of Innovative Payment Solutions. Let's welcome him with big round of applause. It'll be 10 to 12 minutes presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, guys, so is there something I can do to grab your attention post-lunch, or you want me to start off right? You don't want me to do anything. Fine, let me start off with this. What does the overnight tech means? Okay. We had been into the payment space for past 10 years, but what we have done now is where the payment space is going on, like as you heard all the sessions in past 3 days, you have seen how it's changing it, right? It keeps changing every year. So what we have invented is something which makes the things faster. We have gone through a lot of things to get it up, but finally we are there where we wanted to be there. So our overnight tech basically stitches 3 parts of it, which we call it as a collaborative commerce. So it's going to stitch the bank, the merchants, and basically the brands. So each of them we want to stitch and ensure that each of these guys can reach out to the end customer in a simplest manner. So you want to configure your offers on the brand side. Okay, tomorrow you want to change your sales strategy, you're seeing a dip, you want to get the offers live, it can be done. You send it in the evening, so morning the offers are published in all of the stores. And this is not about the retail stores only. This happens even in the GT. Okay, so you want to increase the sales by month end, you have seen a lot of dip in the sales, you can do that right now. Okay, so we stitch this 3 parts actually. So you pass your discounts, you pass your zero cost EMIs, okay, your low cost EMIs, over this thing. So the GTs who were competing with both sides on the organized retailer and also the online, we are bringing them this technology. We are giving them the tools so that they can sell more and concentrate on selling rather than getting into offer comparison and trying to say like, I don't have this, it's on Amazon because the offer is available on today on Amazon, but not with me. That's not anymore the case. Okay. So we did this not just with the technology, we brought in a lot of human factor. Okay, yeah, this has been a lot more of a sensorial things we have brought in. Okay, we have not picked up the smell or other things, but you can see the touch, the 3D effect, okay? The voice-based sensorial things are active. So it's no more about sales. Sales is going to be fun. You can play with the device, okay? You're going to use it the way. At the same time, you can do your transaction faster. You don't have to keep searching. You don't have to keep looking up depth of it so that you have an error in entering something or going wrong. So in terms of sensorial effects, you can see the 3D, but there is another fun if you start transacting on it. You tap in a way which is very simpler. Most of our competitors, what they do, we are 4 times faster in getting the same job done. Okay, searching the offers, searching to the banks, we are quite faster. It's the same with device validations. Okay, so the last part is basically this is the technology stacks which we run through it. Okay, it's more of completely not a monolith. It's completely a disjointed technologies which scales up overnight. We plug in a lot of things. It can be your coupon offer based on the mobile number, can be based on your cards. All of these are disjointed. Anything you want, you just plug in and play there. Yeah, we work with most top brands in terms of the brands, and also we work with most of the processing this, whether Visa, RuPay, Amex, for the things. Okay, this is the tech which makes those things which is available to the e-commerce, available today to the general traders, and also to the organized traders. So let me take it up the benefits of it. So we have, in the past 1 year, we have helped 1 million customers to have a better experience in buying. So the customers who went to the shop bought whatever they wanted to buy without a worry about the cash or this thing. So you get your instant EMI with just a tap on the card, or even cardless EMIs with your mobile number details. So that's what we did. I'm just going to play a video, one of the video from our retail merchants. This is a Pune merchant.
मेरा नाम रंजीत सिंह कोहली है। आई एम द ओनर ऑफ सुंदर मार्केटिंग आकुड़ी में। हमारा मोबाइल शॉप है पिछले 12 साल से। हमारे शॉप में सबके ब्रांड EMIs भी होते हैं, और काफ़ी कस्टमर्स के जिनके कार्ड्स नहीं होते, जैसे जिनका SBI का कार्ड है, RBL का कार्ड है, उन पर नो कॉस्ट EMI नहीं होता है। तो इनोवेटिव मशीन के थ्रू हम वो कस्टमर्स को एक्सेसरीज हो गए, वॉचेस हो गए, कोई भी सेकेंड हैंड हैंडसेट्स होंगे, नॉन ब्रांडेड हैंडसेट्स हो गए, उनको नो कॉस्ट EMI करके दे सकते हैं। जीनी वॉलेट में हम हमारे सारे कस्टमर्स को अप टू 999 तक का कैशबैक देते हैं, और ये जीनी वॉलेट के थ्रू हमको 2 लाख का वॉलेट जो बैलेंस मिलता है, जिससे हम कस्टमर्स उनको हम नो कॉस्ट EMI करके दे सकते हैं। जीनी वॉलेट में हमको बहुत सारे बेनिफिट्स है और कस्टमर्स को भी बेनिफिट्स है, जिसके थ्रू हम अपने ऑनलाइन कस्टमर्स को डाइवर्ट कर सकते हैं। तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ मेरे सारे रिटेलर भाइयों को कि इसके थ्रू मैपिंग करके लीजिए और अपना कस्टमर्स के साथ में रिलेशन अच्छा बना के लीजिए।
This speaks about what we have done, the impact on the retailer traders. See, one thing I said here, like we integrate with the brands, okay, and also the bank, right, and then bring it to the merchant. So all 3 are integrated. So what does he do for the offers which is not there with the brands or the bank? That's where Genie brought in the wallet, wherein the even smallest retailer can sell anything on the EMI. The product which is not listed by the brands, not listed by the banks. So he can sell any of his product on the EMI, same way the Amazon does. That EMI is again the zero cost EMI. Okay, so low cost and zero cost EMI, so which is given by the brands, banks, and of course predominantly online, is now available to the retail traders. Okay, both smallest GT retail traders and the bigger organized retail traders. Most importantly, the GT, whose life we have been able to impact in the past 1 year. And in turn, we are impacting the lives of the consumer who want to buy the things. So that's pretty much. You have any questions you want us to? The financing, I can't probably say it here, but yes, there is a way people can take those things. We have our own product or wallet under which it is come. That gets marketed in a different way, depending on who's going to subvent the interest actually. There are different parties who are going to subvent it actually, depending on which promotion goes with retailers.
Can't offer a So RBI has a regulation where you can't offer a 0% or which we call as a no cost EMI. It is done in a different way. It's like what we do is as a walk around. We tell them it is a 0 cost EMI, but in the loan book it is shown as a EMI, and whatever is the total interest component, it is just refunded back at the instant and as a discounted at the time of a buying. Right. So there was my question is because I'm sorry, means I am going into too deep.
It's correct question, and it's the same thing followed by the brands, followed by the banks, everyone. You have taken Apple phone, right?
Yeah.
You get your 6 months this thing, which is probably majorly earlier funded by SBI, now by the Kotak, right? I mean,
Yes.
Kotak cards,
Correct.
you get it.
Correct.
So same way this also runs. It's all the same. Everybody is
But you
funded
said
by them.
banks are not doing it. Then
Sorry?
I'm just wondering who is doing it. If
See, in Apple, you can ask it of who funds it. I can't disclose here, but we know who funds it.
No, see,
In the
I
app
understood.
scale. Yeah, it's basically the sales budget, right, which funds every brand's, predominantly brands are the ones who fund, but in Apple case, it's different.
Okay. Maybe.
Because Apple is Apple. They don't invite the media. Media comes behind them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, that's what. Okay.
As long as, see, that is the uniqueness of product, right? You need to find a ways to make things happen. Like Amazon does it, right? They have a 0 cost, they have a low cost.
Yes.
Same way we have done it. I can't disclose every steps, but same way it doesn't violate any law. It's under the RBI guidelines, fits in perfectly.
Got it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But what the important thing is, now even GT traders can do this. We're losing it because somebody wants us to buy, but I go on Amazon, I get it EMI because, right, the statistic, most people are comfortable paying every month certain amount of EMI, right? And they want to buy, but they couldn't. Now they can buy from the later research.
I have a second follow-up question on this. When you guys are also having this data, right, and obviously you have a lot of traders on the platform, are you also trying to have some kind of, or you would like to go into some kind of, origination or lead originator where you will channel up with a lot of other partners and, may earn commissions on that as well?
See, that is on this thing. But see, our primary focus in the payment. There's a reason because as the first guy, Garg said, like, it's still a big open space, right? 80% of it is a cash. It means imagine how much has really moved to online. And offline is still a big. Online is growing, no doubt, but offline is growing. Wherein you see any retailer plan, everybody has a big plan of opening shops next year. I'm seeing the shops are opening, not rather closing, especially even in organized with a lot of money put in. So this itself is a big for us. As you said, additional revenue things, that's more of like, we do a lot of things there. I'm not saying no, but that again falls within the privacy policy and the preview actually. Since we are also under the RBI guidelines, as you said, we have a limitation how much we can do.
Okay.
That's the point. We are like a kind of a small banking, as you said, a lot of regulation applies to us also.
Okay.
How much data we can disclose, what we can do.
Got it.
But brands are happy, these guys are happy because they're getting a competition right now, wherein you can't just depend on two online guys to sell your product, where your margins are squeezed.
Right.
Thanks, that's all.
Thank you, I think I'm on dot. So, any more questions? Okay. Thank you.
So any other more question? Okay. Thank you so much, Sri Rahul Nishal, Vice President Technology, Novity Payment Solutions. So now we have two speakers from Wangi, Sri Muthukumar Ramanathan, founder Wangi, and Sumedha. Please welcome our speakers with big round of applause.
So, Muthu from Wangi. We are another neobank, new kid in the town, but we are a giant kid. We have grown substantially well in the very short time. Within 20 months, we have reached some substantially high volumes. So we would like to present, our product. This is the first time we get a chance, and I really truly thank ASSOCHAM for giving us this opportunity. And thanks to all of you for paying attention to us. Thank you so much. To start with, Wangi. Wangi means, it's an ancient, in Tamil language, it is called as, it is related to bank. So it is still, being used at some places, but Wangi means bank. That's how we are able to, name the platform. So that gives you a perspective of what we are doing. So we handle banks, payments, connection with ERPs, and the likes. We are in the B2B space. So what about us? So we are a fintech platform that we facilitate transactions between ERPs and the bank in a connected fashion. So it goes point to point and seamlessly. What makes the big difference? The user journey. We farly simplified it, and that's the reason why you see such a large volumes happening through us. We act as a middle layer between the ERPs and the core banking systems. It comes with two benefits. Accounting is completely automated, hence the reconciliation is eliminated. It stands eliminated. It's not simplified, we completely eliminate it. Then constant innovation. Banks, because of their size, because of the bureaucracy nature, it takes time to innovate. Even if they know what needs to be solved, it takes time. For us, that is the main, factor which helps us grow quickly. We typically operate on all market segments, starting with very, like MNC companies like Hyundai, Mercedes, Boat, goes all the way up to a small kirana, pharmacy store, kirana store, individual chartered accountants, lawyers, law firms. So it's heterogeneous and the spectrum is pretty wide. So payments and collections, we started with it. And then we started, this is how, the interaction between the banks and the ERPs do happen. This is pretty technical, but I just try to skip it quickly. So team makes the difference. So, and that's me. And Amit Sharma comes from ICICI. He's a pretty known person in the connected banking space. And Uma Shankar comes from, he's worked in FIS, etc. This forms the core team, and of course we have a younger team. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I should have introduced my colleague. So she's Sumedha, she's from my team. So we have very young team also who supports us to achieve this kind of large volumes. Yeah. Okay. So any product needs a market approach. How we start capturing customers. If we don't have the correct strategy, then the cost of acquisition of a customer is going to significantly shoot up. So what we have done, we have taken business payments as a strategy to go and get footfall into our product. So that really worked very well for us. And we will show you, what we have done and what's the current volume on business payments first. First, why would a banking customer who has been traditionally using their bank app should shift to us? So these are some primary reasons. In the interest of time, I would love to skip. I don't want to read many of them, but few things. Simplify UI UX. Then customer-specific support. That is what is the primary thing. And the last one is the customized maker checker. Primarily, 70% of India current accounts are all proprietorship. And banks do not provide a maker checker access for a proprietorship account, but we do provide. So that makes a huge difference for Vangi. We provide all modes of payments, typically right, RTGS, NEFT, and the new lot is commercial cards and prepaid cards, and it's really picking up very well for us. What are the different, more types of payments? We cover typically everything. The biggest difference you can see is the custom duty and clearance. So we do the custom duty payments on behalf of the customers. It's directly integrated. You get to select the challan and pay right from our portal only. You don't have to shift between the, different systems. That makes a huge difference. So, as I told, we are a giant kid. Why? You could see we have processed 3 lakh crores in just 20 months since inception. Okay, and currently we are processing over 30,000 crores per month. That is the kind of scale that we have achieved. And more than 200,000 customers, as I told you previously, right from the likes of Hyundai and all the way up to a very small Kirana stores. It's going, like we are adding more than 10,000 customers a month on an average. When it comes to banks, we have marquee banks like ICICI, S Bank, now HSBC, like that. 6 banks have already gone live, including IndusInd, City Union Bank, and IDFC is going live. We have 4 more banks and it's counting. So, let me quickly take you to the customer collections. Okay, see now what you have seen is payments has brought us customers at almost 0 customer acquisition cost. So what is the next relevant thing is to do the cross-sell, downsell, upsell. So that's what we have started. So we've identified there are 4-5 business segments where these customers are willing to pay for the services. So then we started adding up, like one after the other. So that's how you see the other things. Collections is one. The highlighting point in collection, whereas we do a lot of Me Too things too, but the highlighting point here is we provide instant settlement with no MDR at all. So if your customer is paying you through a commercial card, we send a digital, like an SMS invoicing, we send a link, your customer pays you. If he pays 100, you get 100 instantly. So there's no MDR, no time gap. So again, like SMS invoicing and scan and pay makes a, different. Otherwise, the rest all is a Me Too, feature, but we do pretty in-depth and well connected. It's all integrated with ERP. Okay, so along with payment, what comes next is a trade platform. So the natural, extension of a payment platform is a commerce. So we identified, trade and commerce could bring a lot of, site to us, plus also it will help our customers. What we have done, we have created an online trade platform. Initially, we made it like a closed hub. Okay, it can be used only within the customers, within our own bank's customers. But now we are extending that. So you have everything, like, it connects buyers to sellers, sellers to buyers, and it goes multi-level. And then it has got both B2B and B2C. It's very tightly integrated with your ERP. You can, with this trade platform, all your order management, collections, payments, everything can be taken care. What it covers, it covers the whole gambit. You can come, right from, an OEM company, you can go up to the retailer and the consumer. Similarly, you can go upward, right from consumer, you can go to the retailer, then, distributor, sub-distributor, and then you can go all the way up to the OEM company. What it provides is a very powerful concept called vendor managed inventory. Okay, so vendor management inventory is a very powerful concept, and this product covers that. There are numerous benefits, like, because of it goes into online, it makes the presence felt, customer acquisition cost is low, it increases the customer base, your sales cost comes down, inventory goes down, all your compliances are taken care by us. We provide an SAP B1 integrated, absolutely free of cost, license is taken care by us for all these traders. Similarly, if you take a retailer, the retail customer enjoys, compare and buy. He can compare across suppliers and go for the best deal. Pricing is taken care, he'll never miss on any, like promotions, etc. Comes with a free billing system too. So the next extension is a travel and expense module. In travel and expense module, it's a corporate booking we have provided. It covers both B2B and B2C. B2C covers is for the proprietors and below, and B2B is for any SMEs and upward. It comes with an integrated expense management tool. Numerous benefits are there. We'll run through certain benefits now. So every customer who uses our travel platform gets a free lounge access in the airport. Plus, they get a free rescheduling, premium seats are free. So all are there. What is TNPL? Travel now, pay later. And here again, no interest. So this is a traction. So since we have a huge volume, whatever products that we are, like introducing, that gets immediately, see a lot of traction because of our large customer base. So leasing is a natural extension. It's a very, very interesting concept. This is an excellent employment retention strategy as big corporates, businesses house, especially when we are going through that, resignation era now, which is really happening, bothering a lot of companies. This is an excellent retention strategy. So here what happens, car will be bought by the company or by Vangi, it will be leased to the employee, and they have an option to buy. We'll quickly run through the benefits. Corporate earns, okay, corporate is not spending here. Please, I would like to re-emphasize that the corporate is going to make money out of this leasing, and the employees are still going to benefit. That's the, the best part of this leasing opportunity. It increases the gross revenue so that your revenue multiples, if you're on valuation mode, etc., it really goes up. Then you can make use of the GST, cess, and TCS input credits. Otherwise, which is not possible. Here, it is possible. For an employee, 30% tax saving. His gross income, taxable income goes down. So generally, we pay EMI out of the tax paid salary. Here, the lease rent gets paid before tax. So the employee gets to save 30% because of that. So this is a huge saving for the employees. Plus, everything is covered. His interest, it's an interest-free. All is, what do you say, like your maintenance, insurance, everything is paid by the company. So the last in the lot, credit and leasing. So any payment company, if you don't do credit and leasing, then we are definitely not in the payment business at all. We are not considered as we are in the payment business at all. So naturally, we have covered every bit of it. All these are done by stitching right partnerships. As a policy, we don't build books. Okay, we don't underwrite. We don't provide any like FLDG kind of a thing, but we are able to do huge lending business because of stitching the right partnerships. We always believe strongly as a startup, we have to collaborate. If you have to make your presence felt in a short time with a lower customer acquisition cost, then turn your company to be profitable. By the way, we are just profitable. This is the second year of our operations. Last March, we are profitable, not revenue earning, we are profitable. So that happened because of stitching right partnerships. So like in fact, first day I heard some of my peer, he was saying like if you have the right strategy in a fintech startup, you can still make money. So that I strongly support him. If you have the right strategy in fintech, you can make money, you can be profitable also. As early as within second year of operation, we are profitable. So yes, on what's coming next on lending. So this is what is coming. So very first time you're going to see something concept called mezzanine gold loan that we will introduce. You'll get to hear from the market pretty soon. Then bill discounting and securitization is, it's happening in India, but the opportunities are immense. We have a huge potential. We are trying to play a key role in securitization. Okay, so what is the next big thing? Security. So how will a bank like HSBC or how like a bank like S Bank, ICICI, IndusInd, City Union Bank, IDFC, all of them, how do they allow us? Because we have a very, very tight security. It's a multi-layered. user ID, password, one-time OTP at the time of authentication, then every transaction will be authenticated by the bank by a two-factor authentication. Could be an OTP, could be an app-based approval, whatever. So further approval on the respective bank's app in case if you have a maker checker. So we have, it's a very, very tightly secured, and sealed. That is the reason why, we are able to do large volumes and very large corporates are able to, like they believe in us, trust in us and give us the business. So all data, every bit of data, it is an old school of thought. I've been working in the banking industry since 2002, 2003. So those days, every bit of data will be encrypted and stored in DB. That's the concept we follow. So there's no way you can write a SQL command or something like that to retrieve data. If you have to retrieve data, you need to decrypt it, write a program to retrieve the data. That is the comfort we give it to the banks and the customers, and that's the reason why they are sticking to us. Then every data packet is encrypted while in transit. So there's no way it can be broken. So the next big leap, since we are getting very big on trade, obviously we are getting into ONDC. We are tying up with them. Then the natural extension of this is OCEN. So OCEN integration is also we are exploring. Every state taxes, now we are integrating. So how we did custom duty integration, now we are integrating with all the state taxes. Let it be property tax, or let it be any municipal taxes, any of them, we are integrating with each state. Then the last is the foreign trade payment. Since we are very big in customs clearance and custom duty, the natural extension is we are getting into the foreign trade payments for the clearance of import payments, etc. Including your FEMA filing, everything will be taken care by us. Okay, so we are up for partnership. We are hungry for business. We are a young company. We are looking for to partner with you, to engage with you, and we always believe, as I told you, just join hands, collaborate. Then the growth can be much faster, deeper, and the engagement will be very, very deeper. Thanks for the opportunity. I hope I made justice to the time.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much.
So any questions, we are around. You can please get in touch with me or Sumedha.
Any question now? Okay.
Sure.
So
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we are moving ahead with the next speaker, Sri Manoj Thanda, founder and CTO, Micro Host. Please welcome Sri Manoj Thanda, founder and CTO, Micro Host. And it is again 15 minutes max. Please stick to the time.
Hi everyone, very good afternoon. So जब तक ये ठीक कर रहे हैं, I think सब लोगों ने खाना खाया है, so we can rub our hands so that वापस से वो energy आ जाए इस hall में, right? क्या बात किसी को energy नहीं चाहिए? कर लो, it's good for everyone. We are here to get value and add value to each other. Perfect. So I will start with 3 common mistakes that not every, but few fintech is doing. This is what I discovered when I speak to the fintech guys. So the mistake number 1, if I talk about, it's investing capex to the infrastructure. So by the day 1, the people get idea, okay, this is something I would like to go to add value in the fintech ecosystem. They start buying their own hardware infrastructure. They start buying servers. They start investing to getting lease lines from the ISPs, or they start moving their particular hardware to the different data centers. and start investing money at the day zero. Even the products is not get launched till the time. So this is the number one mistake where fintech losing money. This is the second mistake that fintech is doing. They go with the largest cloud provider. Some of because of some compliance issues, some of because of popularity or the brand name. But the biggest mistake they do is they go in a very complex ecosystem where they need to hire very costly resources. For example, one of the IT manager for particular cloud platform, which can be done from a single DevOps guy or from a developer. And after a particular time, they feel like, oh, we are now stuck, what we should do, where we should go, and they're not able to find any way. And I will call it to stick with a single provider, not to moving to a different provider. And that is called as vendor lock-in, which many fintech is suffering these days. This is, I think we all heard, don't put all your eggs in a single basket. And same mistakes people doing in terms of IT infrastructure. They put all the cloud infrastructure with a single cloud provider and stuck in the vendor lock-in. They build all the ecosystem at the single platform. And after some time, I just said, they stuck now where we need to go. For example, if they expand or they attach any other additional APIs, and they want the flexibility from that particular provider. And provider said, oh, no, this is not possible. We have certain kind of system. We have certain kind of stacks that we already built. These are available for you. You can use it or you not use it. And that time, the fintech, it's saying like, okay, I have to use it. I don't have any other option. What microhost is do is, microhost provide simplicity. You don't need to hire any hi-fi tech guy to handle just our cloud platform. Definitely you can hire for handling your cloud servers. And second, we provide is human support, which we will not get from a big multinational cloud provider. What happen is, if any of the issue you face, you open a ticket with them, and what in the response the people get a predefined responses. Right? With us, what we do is we provide the human support where if anywhere you're stuck in terms of your cloud infrastructure or you need any suggestion on the technology, how API works, or you need to connect with our developer environments, so we can help you directly. Another problem with the big giant the people face is unpredictable bills. They're getting high bandwidth utilizations. If one of your server got compromised and some of the hacker used that particular bandwidth in that daytime, companies need to pay lakhs and lakhs of amount to the provider, and no one here to listen you. So here we are winning. Another one is the technology we are using is the same technology, the open source KVM on the virtualization part. And other part, we are not using any particular technology that is we built separately in-house or you fear about the vendor lock-in. So all our OS stacks are open source. All our app stack is open source. You can freely move anywhere from us to somewhere else or from different provider to come back to us. So you are free. You will not stuck in the vendor lock-in. So these are the clients we are currently serving. Few are from the fintech industry. And we have the largest telephony provider in the India. All the leaders we are catering today. We have skill circles who provide digital transformation content to the people. Currently, we are operating from 8 data centers. That is from in a different geography. And this is very helpful for fintech to provide content with a low latency, or you can build your DR services. So if anything goes wrong with the Mumbai zone, flooding or something, you no need to worry. You can deploy your infrastructure, you can plug in your infrastructure from the different data center within the India, not the outside, within the India, and you can utilize that. So your production will not hamper if anything goes wrong with that particular zone. These are something that you will get. You will be capex free. You no need to invest any amount. We will back you in terms of technology investment. You will save a lot of money in terms of non-hiring the tech people, the high-tech people for the platform itself. You will get the scalability. It's not about like you buy 5 servers. If tomorrow you need 100 servers of the scalability, we can provide you. This kind of infrastructure we build. We have in-house inbuilt cloud firewalls where you don't need to put any physical firewalls or don't need to learn anything new. This is very simplified. From the dashboard only, you can deploy your cloud firewall rules. You can define from where your particular API should be open or particular front end should be open to what particular area or any IPs. Another thing, we also provide the cloud VPNs where you can restrict your traffic with the VPN tunnels, or you can use those tunnels to connect with the banking APIs. These are the all REST feature you can resize in the seconds. Like for the scale, you don't need to wait for hours or minutes. You can do it in the seconds. And all the predefined configurations you can do. For example, if you are doing something on the SaaS-based fintech, you can do that very easily. You don't need to deploy the same environment again and again. You can make predefined deployment with us, and you can provide the SaaS component within seconds. Also, you can use your custom ISO if you build on. And for the compliance, we also offer audit logs, what changes done on your account, who made those changes. You can access all the time. So now this is something I would say, here's 2 ways. One is continue to making those mistakes and learning after when you not find any way. And one is move to India's first cloud platform, which is Microhost Cloud, and we will back you in terms of any investment on the server side. And we heavily invest in the R&D. So if you have anything that you're not able to achieve with any of the cloud provider, you can come to us. We'll make sure we will build the same technology for you, and so that all the ecosystem of the fintech can leverage the technology. This is something, we have something special for you. If you scan this, you fill this form, you will be, you can get the 2 lakhs of credit of the cloud on our platform. Second, you can win AirPods of the Apple. So you can scan it out, you can take the pictures. And once you fill this form, definitely we will get your phone number, your email ID, but don't worry, we will not gonna spam you, right? Thank you. If you have any question, you can ask me. Thank you.
Women in financial sector, women leaders impacting financial sector. So all women will be discussing this in this session. We all know about the challenges faced by women in financial sector, and in the later to the leadership position. As we want to see equal number of women at leadership positions, what all we need to do to bring them at par with the other gender, what all can be done, many other aspects will be discussed by women leaders who are going to participate in this very interesting session, wherein we have women representative from Visa, from American Express, from Ikigai Law, from WhatsApp. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final session of this day-long event. This session is being moderated by Ms. Geeta Dhawan, Managing Director, Risk Advisory and Assurance Practice, PwC. A very warm welcome to you. Please join us on the stage. A very warm welcome to Ms. Geeta Dhawan, Managing Director, Risk Advisory and Assurance Practice, PwC. Our panelists are Ms. Sujata Kumar, Head of Marketing, India and South Asia, Visa. A very warm welcome to you, Ms. Sujata Kumar. And the other panelist is Divya Jain, Vice President and Head, Global Network Partnership, India and South Asia, American Express. We have Ms. Aprajita Srivastava, Partner, Ikigai Law. We are also joined by Ms. Subrata Barisal, Senior Lead Relationship Management, Private Banks, NPCI. A very warm welcome to you. And Ms. Priyanka Jain, Public Policy, Payments and Financial Inclusion, WhatsApp. So, very warm welcome to all the panelists. And over to Ms. Geeta Dhawan, Managing Director, Risk Advisory and Assurance Practice, PwC. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I do want to start by saying that this is very much a session for all of you, as it is for us to exchange thoughts and ideas. But as I was, asked to moderate this session, Iqbal ki kuch panktiyan, that I really found very relevant, which goes something like this. तू शाहीन है, परवाज़ है काम तेरा, तेरे आगे आसमां और भी है. So this is a very beautiful, historic, poetic gem from Iqbal's ghazal, सितारों के आगे जहाँ और भी हैं, which actually, underpins the theme that I want to bring to the panel today. Twofold. One, the ambition, and what better way to think about Parvaz, the flight, or metaphorically speaking, the dream or the hope or the ambition, and how we can have, that ambition in the fintech space, and how we can keep that going, how we can support that. And the second statement, Tere aage asma aur bhi hai, at least to me, it meant freedom. And that's where I want to, take the views of this panel, that how can we use the fintech space to bring that freedom to lots and lots of women by financial literacy, by financial inclusion, by making them the consumers of the banking space. So that was the thought, and maybe, with that, I do have some notes. There are a lot of studies that are done. So that I don't mince my words, I'll just refer to a few studies. Maybe we'll start with the ambition section, right? Now, a McKinsey study actually showed that, they conducted a study of 279 companies, which showed that, companies where there was a greater proportion of women in executive leadership or executive committees actually gave a return of 47% higher, a higher return on equity as compared to the others. There was another report by Lean In organization in 2018, where they said that, they studied 1,000 companies in 12 countries, and they showed that there's a very strong correlation between diversity and value creation, not just profitability, but also value creation. And closer to home, in the fintech industry, we have 214 fintech and financial services startups that have been founded by women, or we have women as co-founders. So there is a lot of ambition, at least in this space. Maybe Priyanka, I'll start with you that, you've reached a very successful stage, and maybe if you could share what's been your journey like, and what are some of those 1 or 2 examples that you want to share that kind of continued that ambition, that purpose, that motivation to keep you going?
Thanks, Geeta. In this panel, I feel one privileged to be along with fellow women who are so accomplished. I also did feel the gap when we saw the other panels, and we did miss out seeing more women colleagues there. I would want to see more, and I want to share my stories that motivated me, some anecdotes through my career journey. Mark Twain has said 2 beautiful quotes. There are 2 most important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you found out why. And I thought the latter one resonated with me the most, because the day I found out why was the day I realized, okay, I add tremendous value, not just to my work environment, but by being in the work environment, to me, my family, personal growth. And then now, after finding purpose, how I could give back to society. So purpose has been an important driver. What I do at WhatsApp is also, I feel, we have a Parajita from Ikigai. I feel a sense of Ikigai, where, this is something I know, this is something that I am good at, and this is something that, pays me, and this is what my society needs. So I lead policy for payments and financial inclusion, and a large part of my job profile is to empower the grassroots, build solutions on a platform such as WhatsApp, which will drive digital financial inclusion. So, that's been my journey over the last 2.5 years at WhatsApp, actually. I saw very closely how our country needs diverse set of solutions. And fintech is a beautiful example, because financial services and technology together to drive inclusive inclusive growth for the India org. So very bullish about it. I think purpose drives all of us as women in fintech, as women in the financial and technology services. We have, we have to bring our IQ and EQ together to build solutions that will be advantageous to the country. So I'll stop at that.
Thanks so much, Priyanka. Aprajita, maybe I'll come to you. What's been your Ikigai, and what's been your journey, if you want to share some anecdotes?
I strikingly remember when I was a young lawyer, I was in a job interview, and the interviewer straight went to, your interview was great, you answered all the right questions, but in the end he said, but what if you have kids, will you leave? And I said, look, I'm not married right now, and that's a far-fetched possibility. But he kept going at it, that, but what if you have kids, would you leave? I've seen so much attrition when women have children. It was on the tip of my tongue to say, I'm not even married right now. If there are kids in the picture, there's a bigger problem than this job. But, I think there were many sort of souring instances that I had where interactions weren't that great, and especially at the interview stage. But I stuck at it. That's the little bit of advice I would give to my younger self. I stuck at it. And I found mentors, both men and women, who didn't say, oh, could you just, we don't want your 2 bits. I found mentors who wanted me to lean in, who wanted my opinion, who wanted my 2 bits. And that's, I think, that's the journey that actually brought me even to my Ikigai. So we're not a full-service law firm. We only service technology clients. Our sort of mission is to build a platform in which one side of the network, we work with the world's most innovative companies, like many of the companies listed here. And on the other side of the platform, we have lawyers who understand technology and who aren't just the check-in-the-box lawyers who come right in the end and act as blockers, but start right at the beginning of the journey, especially for our financial tech clients. We've helped so many of our clients sort of go from idea to product to go live to scale. And we've seen the difference it's brought to businesses, to consumers, to be able to take a loan in an instant, to be able to pay without going to a bank branch. So I think I've also found my Ikigai, but that it happened because I stuck to it, I think, without giving up when there was a souring sort of incidents with someone who didn't want to hear what I had to say.
Right. No, thanks so much for sharing. So I'm sure, the road to success is filled with many challenges. And again, while there are women who are coming up, but I was reading another report that kind of showed that of all the startups that have received funding globally, only 12.2% were the ones that were, led by women. So there is some sort of anxiety, there is some sort of questioning whether, they are making the right decision or no. So with that aspect, maybe I'll come to you, Divya, in terms of, what do you think are the challenges out there, and what can we do to spurt the growth of women in this fintech sector?
So I think there are a bunch of challenges, I would say, but there's also a lot of opportunity. And I'd like to specifically talk about challenges that women might face inside themselves, right? So what stops me when I'm trying to do something? I think Aprajita already made a point about stay at it, don't give up. But realistically, when you come across a situation where you might find yourself to be the only woman in the room or getting questions like that, how do you react? When you walk into a business meeting, is the gender in your head as well, or it's just in the other people's head, right? And I've been in meetings where I've been the only woman around, and someone's pointed that out to me, and then I've realized, oh, I'm the only woman around, right? So do I take the gender in with me, or do I leave it out? And if I leave it out, how do I help the men in the room also leave it out, right? I shake hands first, which kind of sets a position of equality. And there could be things like that, as simple as that, right? That could make a difference. But just going to your point about how we can help women, I think we need more role models. And we need more role models to talk. So it's great that we're having this panel here and that we're all speaking about it. But then we also need organizations to back it up, right? It can't just be informal. How does the organization create platforms where you're tracking how many women you have, you're tracking how many women are getting promoted, you're tracking how you're mentoring women, you're making sure that it's not going one way, right? And that in itself can help more people come up. I remember once I was in a setup where we just started like a small informal women's forum group, and we said, let's see if this works, right? And in 1 week, I had 3 women come to me and say, I'm having this problem. It wasn't like the problem came in that week. It was always there. But the minute you start like making something about it and talking to it, then it creates opportunity for people to talk about it and then for you to solve it.
No, that's a very good point. And maybe Sujata, I'll come to you next in terms of, the challenges that probably you faced, and what do you think, maybe some good ideas in terms of mentorship programs or allyship programs that you think we can all share. And like I was, discussing, some of my best mentors have been men. So I do have a question and a request for all. Maybe I'll come to that later, but first I want to hear from you in terms of what you think, we can do.
Thanks, Geeta. I think the first thing that we have to take out of here is that having women in executive positions is not a nice to do, it's a necessity. And I think that's the first thing, and like, you mentioned, we've seen panels with all men. This is one with women. In fact, I was telling Divya we should have had 1 or 2 men in this panel, to make it actually interactive. Talking about keeping women in the workforce, I think what we see is when women come in, they come in with a lot of gusto. And then those who stay to reach senior leadership then generally stay on. There's a lot of attrition that happens in the mid-level. And a common work that people say is there the 3 M's. So it's marriage, maternity, and mobility. These are the 3 top reasons research has shown that a woman leaves. What can we do? We, as people working in a company, one is we can work with the employee, because most of the time they don't want to leave. They feel compelled because they don't get any solutions. So how do we work to give solutions? Second, as women or as allies, it's very important to have a network that you connect to. So I am part of a very, very strong network of 150 women who are, in senior leadership across firms. And I've seen that anybody who has a single problem, within 5 minutes, at least 10 people have put up their hands to help. So the question is not only of expecting your workplace to, uplift you, but it's each one of us, how can we uplift each other? I may need a problem, have a problem today that I need, and tomorrow I may be able to give help. So I think the three things I'd like to say is, number one, we have a struggle of women attriting in the mid-level, so let's recognize that. Let's work as companies and as people to help. Second, I think, like I said, having good allied groups, whether it's mentors, whether it's networks, get yourself into them. If you're not in one today, if you search, you'll find enough. Ask to be invited, you will never be rejected. They're always welcoming. And third, like I said, for companies to recognize that it's not nice to have women in leadership, it's a need, and therefore, whenever there's any forum, make sure there's adequate representation of both sexes, men and women.
Sure, no, that's very interesting. And Subrata, now maybe coming to you, if you could also share some examples around, what you've seen in workplace around some mentorship programs. And honestly, it's not just for women. It's also for men, right? Because that's where we have to bridge the gap in terms of the balance in household duties and in childcare, etc. So you want to share some insights?
Yeah. Geeta, you read my mind in saying that. So see, first of all, there are a lot of things that we have to be considerate about. Dealing with empathy with our employees, with whether men or women, keeping in mind the biological needs of a woman, like Sujata very rightly mentioned, the maternity part. How well do we handle that? How do we provide them a support to return back? How do we provide them the support of not only providing maternity to a woman, why not provide the remaining months to a man? Why should the responsibility of that maternity be only of a woman? Maybe the first 6 months the woman takes care, the next few months the man can take care. And I think that changes the mindset. So that's one. Providing some financial assistance in those times. For example, like in NPCI, at NPCI, we provide, nanny care services till the child is around 3 years old. There are daycare facilities provided. There are flexible timings provided, because that's where the middle management chain breaks, as Sujata rightly pointed out. That's one. Second, the formal and informal channels of training and mentoring is absolutely a necessity. So we at NPCI have certain training program called She Leads, which actually nurtures these employees to grow into a manager, into a decision-making authority. How do you enhance your influencing skills and networking skills as well? See, as women, while we are known to be soft and nurturing, but we also have to be assertive and decisive for the other role that we have to take up. So that's one aspect which is covered. Informal mentoring in forms of having groups and platforms where women can share each other's problem, discuss the experiences that others would have gone through. That's one. Having a role model is very important. So our COO is a woman, and we are happy to have that mentorship internally, because see, if I can see it, I believe I can do it, or I can be it, right? So that's how it goes. If I see a woman doing it, I believe I can do it. And in fact, one of these studies suggests that if there is a woman, one woman in the C-suite, she actually creates 3 more senior leaders who are women.
Right.
So that's one thing to take away and understand that how important it is to actually have that aspect in mind.
That's very interesting. If I see it, I believe it, and I feel that I can do it. And I think, it's personally speaking, just bringing some of my experiences to life when I returned from my maternity leave, I was promoted in 2 months. And there were questions that I was asking myself that, I was away for such a long time. And that's when my supervisor at that time, he said, Geeta, I've not promoted you for the last 6 months. I've promoted you for what you've done in the last 5 years. So that kind of, put that ambition back into track that, okay, people are not just thinking, very short term. It's more a long-term view. And also, for me personally, there was an opportunity where I could take a much senior role by moving abroad. And that's when my husband quit his job to take care of our child when we moved to New York. Which is an example he proudly boasts many a times, but I am also very supportive, right? And you need that kind of support system to make sure that it's both our careers that are important and not just the one.
So Geeta, just to add one more point there, not only sharing of household responsibilities when it comes to training and mentoring, I think it is important for organizations to train our male colleagues as well to be receptive to women issues, to be receptive to our opinions when they're voicing it out, without having an unconscious bias in the mind, you know.
That's it. Yeah, sure.
So, one of the most important part of women not leaving at the mid-management stage is they having the feeling that they can be seen, heard, and valued. Okay, that's an important aspect for any career person, I mean, irrespective of gender, to feel valued, to know that, whatever they bring to the table is seen, appreciated, comprehended, and of course, their views are valued. So I think as an organization, if we are able to give an employee that comfort, and I think I see that at Meta, I saw that in my earlier organization, I came to a decision to, with a resignation letter in my hand twice, and I was told a very nice quote again by my MD then, that when you are tired, learn to rest, not to quit. And it was important. I mean, I can have a fulfilling career today because somebody said these words to me 12 years back. And while I will give this back to the community that I'm building at my workplace, but it's important that we all appreciate the fact that it's not just about maternity, mobility. I mean, what is the support that we get and how we keep growing and how we keep feeling appreciated, not just as women, but women and men, irrespective of gender, so that, that fulfilling career comes as an experience. So.
No, that's very helpful. In fact, that is a good segue into the next question, which maybe Divya, I'll pose to you, that I know in this COVID pandemic, there's been maybe some amount of unnecessary stress, especially for women, right? Managing the household responsibility, managing work along with that. And I personally know a lot of women who kind of gave up, while men were posting videos ki aaj maine jhadu mara, aaj maine pocha mara, while the others do this as a day chore. But now, as we are coming out of it, how do you think we should be thinking about designing the hybrid model that benefits both men and women to keep them, in the track that they would have chosen for themselves?
So, necessity is the mother of invention. And what COVID taught us is that if we have to work from home on extended periods of time, then we can. And we can, sign new deals, launch new products, do everything from home. And I think the real thing that I felt I was missing was collaboration and the fact that you could just sit with people and bond, and as new people join the organization, or if you join a new organization. So to me, we have to leverage this one good possibly that came out of COVID and say it's kind of leapfrogged us into the next phase of how we work. And hybrid, I think, is possibly the best thing. And it's not about like 2 days at work and 3 days at home, which is what Amex is going towards globally. But as long as you can do 2 days at work in a week, you're fine. And you can work 4 weeks in a year from anywhere in the world that you want. But the fact that it's equitably available to everybody, right? So it's not just that I'm a woman, so I have flexibility and I can ask for it. There is a subtle sign that gives when you ask for it also if it's not equitably available. And there will be women who may not ask that, thinking, listen, nobody else is doing it in my team full of guys. And there will be guys who might need it, who may not ask because they have been boxed and they've been stereotyped to assume that they can show up every day irrespective of a parent or a child who needs to be taken care of, right? So I think the fact that we can go into few days at work and few days at home creates a very, very equitable place for everyone, right? We just have to manage our work around that and our homes around that. So that would be my suggestion too.
Sure, sure. Sujata, any thoughts from you on the hybrid model and how we can make it happen?
So like what Divya said, our company also has that, where we do a hybrid, come in a few days a week, work from home on a few other days. We also have this 4 weeks work from any location. I think you're talking about the same thing. I think the important thing is to see that there is a mix. And like we said, whatever is offered to all employees. You choose what works for you. So somebody who chooses to come into office 5 days a week should not be viewed as someone who values working more than someone who chooses to work 3 days from office and 2 days from home, because the organization has allowed that. So I think there is a lot of perception mind change that has to change. The other thing is, a lot of times you may be going through something which people don't know. So I would urge you to share, because a lot of times you think, oh, people don't understand, but maybe they just don't know. And in that context, I want to share a little funny story, but it'll explain this well. In my role prior to Visa, I was actually the only woman among 14 in the leadership team, 13 men and me. So we had an offsite where there was a discussion where the CEO was asking each person, what can we do to help you work better? And went around the room, and by the time it came to me, I said, you could get me a wife. Okay, so I said I want to, and everyone laughed at that point, but they got the message that, okay, it is different for us, it is different from everyone. After that, there was a lot of, okay, should we do meetings rather than, late at night? Should we do it a little earlier? So the thing is, the moment people understand, they hear the point of view, they actually are willing to help. So we shouldn't just always assume they're going to be against us, and we feel a little vulnerable sharing our weaknesses, but I actually find if you share, people will also come back with their stories, and you'll find they're quite a strong support to you.
Sure, thanks so much. Okay, so this was more on the first section. Maybe I'll also take some audience question before we move to the next segment on financial inclusion and financial literacy. Any thoughts, any questions? I see a hand there.
The suggestion, you started with the Iqbal's verse, Shaheen. So there is no second to Shaheen. So then during your discussion, I find that you are yourself going down. But don't go down. You are Shaheen, and you should remain as a Shaheen.
No, in our thoughts, we are Shaheen. But no, fair point, valid point. Any other thoughts, any questions for the panel? Yeah.
Yes, I have. I will share you a small instance of our state. JNK is a small state, we have limited resources, but to empower women in 8 districts, whenever a poor girl is born, we provide 1,000 rupees to each girl child in 8 districts of our state, UT. So this is a small initiative which we give for women empowerment. And also we started crèche facility in Secretariat for women employees. Marriage assistance we also provide for women in our state. This is unique in entire country. These 2 schemes, marriage assistance, and we call it a Ladli Beti scheme. We provide 1,000 rupees to each girl. Why such type of, you just talk about certain instances that you were allowed and you were given. These are instances. Why it is not institutionalized in corporate sector? That's my question. It should be institutionalized, like we have maternity leave in government sector. It is a fixed maternity leave, 180 days. Why it is not institutionalized in corporate sector?
Yeah. So I think you have to take this as a journey. And, we all, the traditional society was defined in some way, right? And I think we are doing our bit to take it forward. To expect that it'll solve for itself in a decade or so, I think will be tough. But if we can all try and make some meaningful advances, I think that's what we've got to do. But you do bring a relevant point, right? Like all of us who are sitting here are from, organizations that are probably large enough or have the might to be able to invest in such things. And there could be smaller organizations which don't. I think there's some of the data points that Geeta talked about earlier, right? Reports that come out which talk about how having more women in the organization is helpful for the organization. Having more women in leadership is helpful. I think those things, talking about them and then in convincing people is a part of that, right? So I guess everybody do your own bit, talk about it, and then things will change is what I would say. Yeah?
Yeah, thanks. I think the fact that your organization has a creche is wonderful, and kudos to your organization. You should go back and tell them that we all appreciate that. I think, like she said, the change happens. So I don't know for others, but for me, when I had my first child, the maternity leave was 3 months, and I was expected to come back day 1. After 3 months, my husband had 0 paternity leave. Cut to today, my team members have 6 months without say, and they can club it with, prior and after to make it 8 months. Men have paternity leave, and they are taking it. So we're seeing changes. So I think if, we're all supportive, we will see more happening. And hopefully, the next generation, people who report to me will never have the situation which I did, which was I was the only woman amongst 14 men in the leadership. So we need each one of you in this room to carry that motto forward with yourself.
Okay, any other questions, thoughts, ideas?
So, anybody? All right, I want to, pose this question to the panel, that sometimes what happens is that when women are, they are in their professional world, कई बार ऐसा आपको लगा कि ऐसा हो रहा है कि गैस लाइटिंग हुई, या मान लीजिए माइंड गेम्स खेले गए, या मान लीजिए सोशलाइजेशन ऐसा हो रहा है सोसाइटी का फ्रॉम चाइल्डहुड, कि वहाँ वुमेन को, जैसे आपने मेंटोरशिप की बात की, कि वहाँ उनको काउंटर स्ट्रैटेजी देनी चाहिए कि वो मेंटली इतनी स्ट्रांग हो जाएं. ज़्यादातर जगहों पर देखा जाता है कि वो ये मान के चला जाता है कि women may not be that much mentally strong as men are. So do you think that such sort of mentorship should take place? And one thing is that school और colleges में इस तरह की socialization हो, क्योंकि society हमारी ऐसी है कि वहाँ इतना इक्वालिटी होती नहीं, या उसमें अनलर्न करने की बहुत ज़रूरतें हैं. बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसे ट्रेडिशन है, अपब्रिंगिंग ऐसी लड़कों की होती है कि उन्हें नहीं बताया जाता कि नहीं आपके बराबर हैं बहनें, उनको भी उतना ही रिस्पेक्ट आपने देना है. और स्कूल में लड़के जो हैं उनको उतना ही सम्मान देना है अपने साथ जो लड़कियां हैं उनको. तो मेंटोरशिप, सोशलाइजेशन प्लस काउंटर स्ट्रैटेजी टू फॉर दीज माइंड गेम्स एंड गैस लाइटिंग. What's your opinion? Maybe any of the panel, or maybe Divya, or maybe you can talk about it.
Maybe I'll start. I think, very rightly said. And see, whatever we are seeing in the workplace, वो सब कहीं ना कहीं societal differences से ही आ रहा है, right? All the studies that we show, why one of the top reason that was cited why women-led startups don't get as much funding. I'll quote, Faguni, Nykaa's CEO, where, there was some question, is it a business or is it a hobby, right? It is somewhere in the mindset that, we tend to do more things which are, nurturing, caring, ghar mein dhyan rakhna and all of that, versus a lot of these decision-making, financial planning, or, some of these aspects are the arena where men come in. Although I feel a lot is changing, and touch wood, in my childhood, I think my dad would have put me in front of my brother, but that's not the case in every household. I know my maids, especially the staff, where they've come back with an example कि अभी लड़की को की शादी करनी है, 15 साल से ऊपर हो गया है and all that, versus boys are still going to colleges. So I completely agree that there is a need. And it can't be done, in small programs. It has to be somewhere where at a mass level, we kind of bring that change. But I also know it will take a lot of time. It is not, so easy. And when my husband quit his job, I know how much our family said, "Naukri chhod di, matlab tum chhod deti, tumhe itna kya pada hai," and all of that. But that's when my husband said, "Okay, no, she's getting a better position. She's earning, more than what I will be earning, so let's go and try this out." So I think that change is needed.
So Geeta, no problem. I'll just add something. In fact, there was a research done on this, where respondents were initially asked to rate whether a man or a woman is better in some of the traits which are very inherent for a leadership quality, right? When that came in, the results, women seemed to be clear winners in 7 out of the 8 parameters. However, the same respondents, when posed a simple question, who do you think is a better leader, chose men over women. So that shows that unconscious bias that's still there in the societal norms for sure. And one more answer going, what can we do to kind of break it? I think as women, we have to be confident and make other women confident to voice out their opinion. So like you mentioned, the gaslighting, the mind games, we shouldn't be normalizing it. We shouldn't be accepting them as normal. We need to kind of speak out. If we are, kind of exposed to that, then we will have to stand up for ourselves and we have to speak out and maybe encourage the other people to do the same.
Aprajita, you had.
No, but I also think, point well taken, but I also think inclusion is a slow burn. It doesn't happen overnight. I just want to dovetail from the example you were giving. I remember asking my house help, and I always say that I am able to do my job because she's doing her job. She does her job better than I do my job, I think, on most days. And I kept telling her, I'll help you open a bank account. It's difficult for me to withdraw cash every month and pay you in cash every month. I'll help you open it. I'll help you do the KYC. What's the blocker? And finally, I remember after months of convincing her, when she would still only take cash, she would say, no, if I have a bank account and I have a debit card, I'll lose access to my own money. My debit card will go to my husband and he knows how to operate these things. I don't know how to operate these things. And I'll lose access to even the little bit of funds that I have on a monthly basis. So I think, yes, there is gaslighting, there is an inherent equity that, that exists and it won't go away overnight. But I think the idea is to, as a woman trying to make it in the workforce, right? You have to try to gravitate or try to find mentors who aren't gaslighting you, who are enabling you, and not let the few people who are gaslighting sort of deter the course of your career.
Just one point to add on this, and it's a great question, which is why I'm talking about it. I think the other very important thing we need to ensure we don't do is stereotype. We all are guilty of stereotyping, not just men and women. And there was a study that was conducted where, by Harvard, which showed that there was one CV that was created, okay, a very high achieving CV. To half the panel of interviewers, the person's name was a female name, Harriet. Okay, and to half of the panel, the name was a male name, Harry. Exactly same CV, male name, female name. They didn't interview, but they were asked to read the CV and come back with what you think this candidate would be. So the person whose name was Harry people said he seems strong, a great leader. He will, lead the company to great heights. The person who had the female name, they said, oh, she seems very bossy. She will be not a team player. Just bases the two names. And the panel was both men and women. So what I'm saying is stereotyping is something we have to make sure we stop as well.
I mean, we're talking about empowering women, right? We also have to talk about innovations that empower them. I mean, I heard the panels over the last 3 days and we spoke about amazing innovations that are happening in India, whether it is the fintech, ease of payment, ease of infrastructure, logistics, back-end connections, all is amazing. But we are still conscious that 93% of our population belongs to the informal sector. We do have rural population that does not understand fast tech technology. Thanks to NPCI, we have UPI payments, which is so amazing, and several innovations around that, including what WhatsApp Pay does. But I spoke about purpose, and a large part of my profile has been to actually work with vulnerable sectors, trying to get them digitally and financially included. And what I find there is that they don't have access. So if we go to our own RBI-led national strategy on financial inclusion, it talks about creating access, awareness, affordability for all segments. If you're able to do that, then we empower them, because financial independence leads to empowerment, entrepreneurship leads to empowerment. So building solutions for the women in the grassroots so that they are not dependent on their male counterparts, colleagues, parents, or family members or spouses is very important. And I think that is where we need to empower to take care of several such social conditioning issues that we are going through. So it is not only what we are going to face because of social conditioning, but also we are going to leave a legacy for our upcoming generations. So what are we building for tomorrow? That is what I'm
Yeah, exactly. We know problems exist. We know that what are the issues we are facing. But now it is the time to find out solutions. What is the way out? What is the way out?
Everybody has to do something. Okay, so let's not say women have to do this and men have to do this and organizations have to do this and families have to do this. Everybody will have to do something, and consistently. There's an author called Malcolm Gladwell. He's actually a favorite of mine. And he has a podcast called Revisionist History, where he goes back and explains or tries to unravel mysteries that might be there, not like murder mysteries or something, just the way people behave and all. And he had a very interesting story from about 100 years back, where there was a time when in the National Gallery of London there were no paintings by any women artists. It wasn't really allowed. And then there were women artists who said, we want to be showing our paintings there. And finally one woman managed to get her painting to be put there. And everybody thought that new times have come, right? And now we have a woman showcasing her painting in this particular gallery. And now we will see that happening again and again. But you know what happened? For decades after that, there wasn't any other painting by any other women. And it wasn't because there weren't women who were painting great paintings. But sometimes you feel that you do something which is big, and then the kind of responsibility is off you, right? And that, you've done your bit and now it'll move. But the momentum and the effort and the consistent, work that has to be done will have to be done by pretty much everybody all the time. So not like one panel, right? All the time. So that's what I would say.
Sure. Right. Thanks, Divya. So I think that's a good way to move maybe to the next segment. And Priyanka, you already spoke about it. And maybe Subrata, I'll come to you. Now, in the fintech space, of course, there are so many innovative solutions. But maybe let me start with financial literacy as well. First of all, do you think that, women in particular need a lot more education, and they do leave a lot of these financial decisions to the male counterpart in the household, whether it's insurance, whether it's investments, whether it is, loans, bank accounts, etc. And then how can we in the fintech space maybe drive that financial literacy? And I know some are doing it, but just want to hear from you.
Yeah, so that's a great point, Geeta. Actually, if you see, women are as efficient in credit management. There's no doubt in that. However, when it comes to a formal structure of investment and credit, yes, we do see women somewhere lagging behind in taking charge of it. Not that they don't understand it, but yes, they're taking charge of it. Again, because of one of the societal norms, upbringings, where you rightly mentioned that usually we are role trained to be said that women do this, like women are stereotyped to take care of the household, and the man takes the financial decisions. So even when we are independent, when we are earning, how many of us or how many of our family members who are women would know about all the investments, savings, insurance that their husbands, fathers, brothers have? So, one of the interesting facts on this, that LIC alone holds around 21,500 crore rupees of unclaimed insurances. And what is the reason? The male counterparts who've actually gone ahead and taken the insurance for the benefit of the family never knew about it. They were not aware about it. So that remaining excluded from that decision-making process itself gives us that, disadvantage somewhere. Now, obviously, we have to come up the curve, but the only problem, and it brings me to the next question that you posed, how can the fintech industry today help? I'm sure a lot of fintechs are doing a lot of work to get that done, but I think the key here is simplicity and also customizing and creating products targeting a women segment. If you see today, most of even look at the advertisements, look at all the appeals, pitches are all male oriented. We hardly see a woman talking about investment in anywhere, right? So that's one. how do you do that? Simplify, break the end result into simpler, relatable goals than creating just complex matrices and jargons, right? So that's one. Second, how do you create that to a lifestyle requirement of a woman? It could be saving, it could be an investment insurance, it could be what Zest Money has done. You know, they have like BNPL kind of a product, right, where they offer shopping experiences to women. And they have shown statistics that since last year, their women customers have in fact doubled in number. So that's how you make it relatable for my needs. And again, that doesn't mean that men don't shop, right? It's just that putting it in a way that we have been trained to understand our needs in. So I think that's how it comes into picture.
That's very nicely put. In fact, you know, one of the studies that I was reading which said women earn less, they have limited access to banks and loan credit, and 1.1 billion women are cut off from financial services together, which I personally feel is a very huge opportunity for the fintech space when it comes to women. Any other thoughts, maybe, Aprajita?
I just want to add a few statistics just to dovetail from that. The Nilekani report observed that 42.8% Indian male own a debit card. The number of women is almost half of that. 22.3% Indian female own a debit card. The numbers become even lower for women who are the sole owners of a bank account. Most of these numbers are actually co-owned. There is a male member of the family which is the owner of the bank account, and the female member of the family is a co-owner of the bank account. The number becomes even lower where a bank account which is solely owned by a woman is digitally active. The fintech industry has grown, but the number of women who own a bank account and are digitally active with that bank account, sole owners of a bank account where they are digitally active, the Nilekani report itself, which is barely a couple of years old, has observed that that number is abysmal. So while fintech may have grown, while this room, you know, there are so many entrepreneurs who have catered to, you know, inclusion in the general sense, but are we including this group of the populace? I think important to highlight the problem statement as well.
No, so just to add to that, to a point, when we started off with UPI, as my friend here was mentioning, so we realized that a very critical, you know, aspect of you using UPI is your mobile number linked to your account, right? That's when we actually realized that many women who have accounts do not even have their own mobile numbers registered against it. It's either their husband's number or a father's number or someone else's number. So that was an eye-opening fact that came into picture when we actually had that real-hand experience. And in fact, again, the role of fintechs with UPI coming in, with players like WhatsApp integrating, where everybody has access to, you know, kind of using it, and they know how to use it. I think the percentage of people wanting to link their mobile number and starting to use it has also picked up. So that's also how they've revolutionized the entire.
So Geeta, since we're talking about a problem statement that exists and fintechs looking to solve for this space, I just wanted to share, and this is not, you know, maybe I'm not sharing it as a WhatsApp perspective, but I'm bringing to life a solution that exists, and we can actually build such solutions for the audiences. Is, you know, how do you make it simple? The UI UX so simple, so catered to the last mile. It's multilingual. It has to be multilingual because we have such a diverse country. And at the same time, it has to have simplicity of audio, video, and voice. We have to break the barriers of literacy. So how do you leverage you know, technology that exists in the country to build some of these solutions which will simplify? For example, you know, during COVID times, we were working with SBI General to launch you know, chatbot-led journey on WhatsApp, and we realized that the moment you show a video to the rural audience on why they need insurance, the receptibility was very high. So awareness, financial literacy we spoke about. We need to break it down to the language that, you know, will be able to reach. We can't wait for the consumer to come to the branch or the bank. We have to take the product to the consumer at their doorstep. And that's where fintech revolutions will come in play. And one of such, definitely WhatsApp is building, but I'm proud of everything that India has done in the fintech space and the innovations that
So similar experience, Priyanka, again on the same UPI platform where we have an app called Bheem, right?
Yeah.
So NPCI was never a customer-facing app. We don't have an expertise in that. I I mean, that's how we operate, right? However, when the need came in to, kind of create that inclusive infrastructure, it was a very simple app which was created, basic features mentioned there, no jargons, nothing, no added features, no complicated solutioning, just a very plain, simple vanilla app for people in regional, rural languages as well to use, and look at the number of users there. I mean, it's as big as any other giant sitting today.
No, absolutely. My parents have been bankers online throughout their life, and just a year ago they asked me to teach them how to use Bheem UPI, because everywhere even the auto walas today are saying, "Madam, UPI kar do." In fact, the biggest example for me came to life when a few days ago we were in Goa, and I was just taking a stroll at the beach, nothing, no money, etc. And these ladies, who sell all the beaded jewelry, etc., they came to me and they said, "Madam, kuch le lo." And I was like, "Nahi, main to paise nahi lai." She's like, "Google Pay kar do, Bheem UPI hai mere paas, ye mera mobile number hai." And just because of that, I just bought it, which was an eye-opener, whether a guy or a girl, but I think that fintech world has really revolutionized that.
Yeah, I'd like to add the fact that it's a myth in people's mind that one, women don't know numbers, and two, that people who are older don't understand. And I think the biggest, sort of leveler and the thing that educated people was the pandemic that we had. And what we saw overnight is millions and billions of people who used cash suddenly could not use cash. And this is something we saw, at Visa as well, is that what we were seeing is that there is just a need to educate. So finally, suddenly, people were ordering things online, but as you know, India is a country where cash on delivery was created for Indian consumers by so many companies. That stopped. So people, women, men, older people, everybody had to, it became a leveler. Everybody had to order. So what we just found was that if there was an easy, educating video, it would help. And we did that, and we found out that the amount of people who seamlessly moved to using online, to doing transactions that were cashless was so high. So I think it's really a myth in our mind, and we should stop saying that, women don't understand finance. And I mean, so many of our financial institutions are headed by women. So if we can do finance for, our company, we can definitely do it for ourselves. So I think that's one. And the second is the older groups, and it's just the education, giving them it on their fingertips to use.
So, what I'm concluding is that it's not the product that needs to be different. It's the way you communicate it and how you make it easy to use, right? So your original question was around, do we need new products? I guess everybody needs to save, everybody needs to invest, everybody needs insurance. That can still stay the same. But how you put it out, I think is the secret sauce possibly.
Yeah. Good. Okay. I'll again come back to the audience in case, there are a lot of people from different fintechs. Your story, anything that you've done differently around, say, financial literacy or some innovative products, or any questions for the panel would be happy to hear. Any ideas, any thoughts? Okay, I think any closing remarks, any conclusions in terms of,
I just wanted to say two positive trends that I read about in the last week about India. One, we have around 700 million internet active users, and larger part of this 700 million belongs to rural. So the myth again that will rural be able to know what is digital? We have to break that. So build for rural was a trend that we saw. Rural, because they are the India, they are the Bharat that we need to definitely cater to. The second was women are now positively higher than men. The population for the first time, as per the National Family and Health Survey, there are 1,020 women per 1,000 men. And I think it's a positive upside trend. So building products for women and vulnerable sectors is no more an option. It is no more a choice. It is a mandate. The responsibility is on all of us to build and leave a legacy for generations to come. So I just want to encourage everybody in the room, on the panel, and otherwise listening to this, that we should definitely focus on the 50% and more population of India, which is women.
Sure. Thanks so much, Priyanka, and everyone. I really want to thank you. And personally for me, I prepared a lot and read a lot for this. So that was an eye-opener in terms of what the statistics are. But for me, the success will be when, we don't need panels like this where we have to focus on, women, but it's a very natural thing that gets ingrained. So thank you, everyone. And thanks all the panels for coming here. Thank you.
Indeed, very interesting session it was. कद्र तारीख ने तेरी अब तक जानी ही नहीं, कद्र तारीख ने तेरी अब तक जानी ही नहीं, तुझमें शोले भी है, बस अश्क फिशानी ही नहीं, तेरी हस्ती भी है, एक चीज़ जवानी ही नहीं, अपनी कहानी का उन्वान बदलना है तुझे, उठ मेरी जान, मेरे साथ चलना है तुझे। कैफी आज़मी की इन्हीं पंक्तियों के साथ इस कार्यक्रम का समापन। Thank you very much for being part of this session and thank you very much for being part of this festival. It was indeed pleasure having you all here in this gathering. Thank you.